Pirate I Was Dug Up by Robin, Chapter 401 to 420. Chapter 401 Grumpy Old Lady. Home stealing begins. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. Time is 10 hours 0 minutes and 30 seconds in the morning. The time for this world-class martial arts tournament's primary and knockout rounds has just passed halfway. In this 1.5 hour, the number of contestants who defeated 100 people to advance to the second round has reached 187,187. The list on the big screen of the live broadcast has also changed. From promotion to head count list. Of this new list of head counts are almost all occupied by the big pirates of the New World. Among them, the officers of the 4 Emperors Pirates and the 4 Emperors and 100 Beasts Pirates came to the fore. Half of the top 30 places on the list are cadres from the 2 Big and 4 Emperors. In comparison, the seeded players, who were brilliant at the beginning, barely moved during this period of time. Especially in the 16th minute of the conference, the one who overwhelmed the heroes and won the throne of the first promotion. A rickety old man. His number of defeats has always remained at 100, and there is no change. Obviously, he has no intention of fighting again. Take a break and wait for the second round to start. As for Dragon King Sabo, Fire Fist Ace, Straw Hat Luffy, etc. The high-profile seed players from Waesung. In this more than an hour, there were not many outstanding performances, but a few heads were added sporadically. Almost all of them have fallen to the bottom of the list. Because the director's footage has not been given to them for a long time. Over time, people can't help but guess that they are probably saving their strength for the second round of the next more brutal and fierce conference. Even the reporters who are optimistic about them have no choice but to pay attention and report on other contestants who have performed well. Wasteland Venue. White smoke billows up on the rocky wasteland. It was a sturdy white horse. As the 4 hoofs moved, the dust was flying, and they fearlessly rushed towards the fiercely fighting group ahead. Ah, look over there. It's Cavendish in 6th place. The Cavendish with a bounty of 280 million too, damn it. This bastard has already defeated so many people and is still not satisfied. Are you following us this time? Hey, opposite, let's work together to get rid of this bastard. Just to my liking. Under the threat of the menacing Cavendish. Originally still, the 2 Paradise Pirates in the battle of life and death have suspended their disputes. The remaining dozens of people united together, trying to solve the great threat of Cavendish first. Ha ha ha, this is the best way, just go straight like this, Faruru. Cavendish held the holy sword Durandal, like a noble knight, charging without fear. Sorry. Quote. The white horse Faruru neighs. The speed is even higher. That's it, well done, Faro Huhu. Before Cavendish finished speaking, fatigue and drowsiness surged up, and underlings charge. He fell asleep. Saw Cavendish asleep. The people of the 2 pirate groups suddenly quarreled and rushed forward, trying to harvest the heads. But don't wait for them to get close. Cavendish, who was in a drowsy state on the white horse, raised his head sharply. The originally handsome face suddenly turned gloomy and cruel. Swish, swish, flashed across the wasteland, a shadow so fast that even the shadow could not be seen. It only took less than a minute before and after. The 2 big pirate groups, including the captains, cadres and other good players, were all killed in seconds. Only Cavendish was standing still. Rommel's weasel, what a troublesome person. On a hill in the distance, Leeching Makugai, the captain of the Whitebeard Pirates, flicked his lightning-shaped beard. Don't you want to play with him? Sighed, the pirate captain with the monkey, the wanderer Doma grinned. It's better to avoid it. You have to go by yourself. I'm different from these young people. My physical strength is not enough, and I want to save more energy to prepare for the next game. Leeching Makugai rode. Bang, sounded softly. It was the sound of the sleep snot bubble popping on Cavendish's nose. Cavendish shuddered violently, waking up from a stupor. Looking at the fallen pirates on the battlefield, Cavendish scratched his head. You ran out without permission again. Cavendish looked up helplessly, waiting to see his ranking rise 2 places on the big screen in the sky. She surpassed Charlotte Daifuku, the Ant's Aunt, and Wulu-T, the poisonous-tongued sister of 100 Beasts, and successfully rose to the 4th place. Ha ha ha, from the results, it's not bad. I won't talk about you this time. Cavendish smiled, jumped on his horse happily, and started his next goal. Number 1 on the list, I've got it. ... A loud rumbling sound suddenly sounded in the dense jungle of Boom Rumble. Pieces of big trees and ground were overturned by the terrifying shock wave. Turn around like a dragon. Found you. Wulu-T, the poisonous-tongued sister of 100 Beasts, smiled in surprise. Run away. The monster is coming. It's the cadre of the beasts. Having seen the cruelty of the conference, and completely lost the confidence to compete for the Overlord, the Paradise Pirates who only wanted to survive all screamed in horror, fleeing in all directions in a panic. In the end, however, no one survived. This time it's 257 people. 257. Quote. Wulu-T, who was reincarnated in human form, clapped her hands. The smile on Wulu-T's face disappeared when she saw that she had stepped back 1 place on the list. Cavendish, it's you bastard again. This is the first time I've managed to get into the rankings. Don't let my mother touch you, or you will definitely be torn to shreds. Wulu-T cursed fiercely. And that idiot queen, what the hell did you do? The head count hasn't moved for half an hour. It's definitely being lazy. You better not let me run into it. The 2 guys Sasaki and phosphored. Even if there is no one around. The poisonous-tongued sister Wulu-T still perfectly demonstrated her poisonous tongue ability. From top to bottom, I've listed everything I can think of. This finally eased some of the unease of the ranking drop. Blue. Just then, a phone bug rang. Wulu-T took out a small phone bug from the gully in front of her. My stupid brother, didn't I say don't contact me if I have nothing to do with you? I'm busy now, old lady. Wulu-T scolded irritably. It was not his brother Pejuan who responded to him, but the roar of the film and the screams of people. Sister, something is bad. That Marco, Fire Fist, red-haired bastard, and Shichibukai Sand Crocodile are calling. Peggy Wan shouted in panic. What did you say? ... Chapter 402 The Heroes Gather. The conference is reaching its climax. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Time is 10 hours 0 minutes and 40 seconds in the morning. It is a taiku venue jointly occupied by the 4 emperors and 100 Beasts pirates and the thieves. The 2 emperor pirates who were far from the brutal battle were scattered all over the island in boredom. Easy and comfortable. In the eyes of these royal pirates, it's still far from their time to fight. Their goal is not just a mere promotion spot. It's not an overlord-level crushed fruit. Their opponent is the Waesung, and the heroes of that city. Of the 2 sea emperors joining forces can be called unprecedented. When their invincible captains arrive, how can even the heroes be at that time, when they blow the horn of the charge and calm everything down? Hoo, is just when the pirates of the beasts on the edge of the island imagine the beautiful future. Suddenly, there was a loud whistling of the wind in their ears. The wind blows with yellow sand. The pirates of Ling all narrowed their eyes unconsciously. What's going on? Where did this wind come from? Someone yelled in disbelief. Blown from the adjacent desert venue. Look over there. Swish. The big waves of sand are coming. Black line, on the adjacent desert island venue, behind the terrifying sand waves that covered the sky. Even the powerful members of the new Century 4 Emperor-level pirates couldn't help but turn pale in horror and screamed in horror. Goo ha ha ha. The top of a huge sand wave hundreds of meters high. Shichibukai Crocodile stood with his hands behind his back, bursting out with a wanton and flamboyant laugh, full of energy. Like a monarch in the desert. Next is my time. Crocodile grins Isho. Boom, Crocodile spent a long time saving. Sandstorm burial, comes. It poured down towards the Taiku venue. Bury everything. Just for a moment. The more than 200 beasts and antis and soldiers stationed at the edge of the Taiku venue were wiped out. Crocodile also made the jump for it. Ranking is like riding a rocket straight up to the top 30. At the same time. Other aspects of the Swire venue. The tremors of the earth, the roar of battle, and the screams of the pirates were one after another. Rubber rubber, elephant gun, smash. The pitch-black huge armament fist fell like a machine gun towards the team led by Shimona. The strongest of the beasts who have learned armament. Under such a terrifying blow, he only persisted for a moment, and then he was defeated by a strong force. Dai Enkai, Entei. The dense virgin jungle suddenly ignited circles of flames, spreading a radius of 100 meters. Fire Fist Bastard of the 2nd Division of the Whitebeard Pirates, do you want to start a war between the 4 emperors? Seeing the huge weight on Ace's head, the pirates panicked and shouted loudly. How can a war happen? This is just a normal meeting. Since you are in this venue, you should be prepared to be defeated by others. Ace grinned. Bastard Fire Fist, you. Boom, a huge fireball burst of energy, turning the mountains and forests into a sea of burning fire. It's the bastards of the red-haired pirates, you. Phoenix Marco, why are you? Shichibukai, Jinbei bastard, even provoked us thieves, don't you want to live? Fishman Karate 5000 watts. Dragon Claw Fist. 3 swords and 3000 worlds. After an hour of silence. Weisung Little Monsters and Marco, Jinbei, Usopp and others jointly initiated the royal family thief plan finally started. It was a violent attack like a violent storm. Ling's battle-hardened 2 big 4 emperor pirates were caught off guard. Sister, hello, did you hear me? Peggy Wan screamed in anger. I heard it, what's your name? The old lady will come back soon. Absolutely don't let those bastards escape, I will tear them all to pieces. A brutal killing intent flashed in the vertical pupils of Yuludi's eyes, who had transformed into a grumpy old lady. The other side. The ministers of thieves who also received the contact, Perospero, Oven, Daifuku, Smoothie, and others also rushed back to the Taiku venue with a look of anger. It's so bold, those bastards. Swordsman Fursford in an angled mask gritted his teeth. Have you contacted the Queen? Fishman Sasaki, who joined Foxford first, had a gloomy expression on his face. Not yet, Mrs. Queen doesn't know what she's doing now and hasn't been connected yet. 100 beasts really hit the report. That idiot, forget it, leave it alone. He is. For now, let's deal with those daring guys first. Fishman Sasaki and Swordsman Fusford said coldly. That happened at the Taiku venue was naturally impossible to hide from others. When all the big screen broadcasts in the sky are locked in the Taiku venue. People who witnessed this scene were all in an uproar. It turns out that the monsters in Weisung have been silent for so long, so they are waiting for a big move here. Lei Ching Makugai stroked his beard. It's really going to be lively again now. But Ace, Marco, and Jinbei, why do they want to participate in it? If one of them is not very, but it will provoke a war between the emperors. The Ranger Doma was puzzled. Is that what Dad meant? No, the relationship between Dad and that marine hero shouldn't be that good. Forget it, if you can't figure it out, don't think about it for now. Marco and the others must have their reasons for doing this. As Daddy's subordinates, we should also contribute. Then let's go together. It just so happens that I have a bit of a fight with the bastards of the beasts. And Leeching Makuge reached a consensus and rushed to the battlefield with their respective pirate cadres. Damn Straw Hat bastards, they stole my limelight once again. No, How can the limelight be monopolized by you? I'm going to. The pirate noble's son Cavendish riding a white horse galloped towards the Taiku venue. Captain, are you serious? There are 2 big 4 emperor pirates there. Don't be impulsive. White Bear Shellfish Zala lives in the corner of her captain's shirt, looking pitifully praying. Such a good show will never be seen many times in a lifetime. Trafalgar Law grinned Isho. The war has begun. There will be the centerpiece of this stage. Why don't you go and see the magician? Let's go. Do you want to inform that idiot Hyaming? Forget it. Supernova Drake and Hawkins out. Straw Hat Monkey Luffy, so you were there. Finally found you. The big pirate with a reward of 500 million, Chinjiao, the pillar of Hapo Navy, has a ferocious expression and strides forward. Chapter 403 Shocking upgraded version of the Big Melee Open Black Lens Bracket 1/4 Close Black Lens Bracket. 10 o'clock in the morning, after about 3/4. The first round of the conference, which was gradually approaching white hot, suddenly produced huge waves. The sandstorm and waves set off by Shichibukai Crocodile opened the prelude to the Taiku venue battle. The first round of the Budo Club, which has been flattening, has been pushed to its climax. A few minutes ago, the 2 major islands were watching the battle, and the square was broadcast live. Look, that, Cavendish is up again in the rankings. Amazing, once again surpassed that of the 4 Emperors and 100 Beasts Pirates. Wulu T. Rommel's Weasel, the second personality, the White Horse, is really a monster. The reporters and spectators in the live broadcast square exclaimed in amazement. Shoo, a flash of light suddenly flashed across the ranking list on the other screen. The ranking of the list representing someone is rising at a leaping speed. In an instant, it attracted the attention of people in the square. It's amazing, it's the 24th place in one breath. Who is it? That name is Crocodile. It's Shichibukai Crocodile. That Sand Crocodile finally shot, but how did he do it? How did he find and solve the group of 200 people and 200 people in an instant? It's unbelievable. ... The reporters and the audience in the square shouted in shock. As if to answer their doubts. The screen that originally displayed the battle scene of Cavendishly's personality flashed. Wave of yellow sand that covered the sky and covered the sun. Wow! What a horrible desert wave it is. As expected of one of the Shichibukai, a real monster. The desert venue is simply the home of the Sand Crocodile. Everyone was amazed. Not right. Someone screamed in horror. Look at the direction where the sand waves beat. That is the ancient meeting place of the 4 emperors, hundreds of beasts and thieves. That Shichibukai Crocodile took a shot at the Imperial Union. Nani? Boom, boom rumble. Reporters and viewers have not had time to recover from this shocking news. Next second, the violent roar resounded. Several other live broadcast screens on the square were switched to the perspective of the Taiku venue. That's the Straw Hat Luffy. And Fire Fist Ace and Phoenix Marco. The 2 leaders of the Red Hair Pirates and Shichibukai Seaman Jinbei are also here. There is a team led by the Dragon King Sabo. It turns out that they were not resting for an hour before, but had been preparing to make big news. It's unbelievable. It's really crazy to kill the 2 big and 4 emperors, nests directly. There are at least 5,000 new world powerhouses there. The difference in numbers is too big. But it's not impossible to fight. After all, most of the beasts and cadres are not around now, but if the cadres return, it will be troublesome. Isn't that just right? It's just like this. This conference will be more interesting and interesting. ... On the live broadcast square, the uproar of reporters and audiences was one after another, resounding through the sky. Same. Waisung Square, people screamed excitedly into the sky. It is different from the 2 major live squares. The big screen of Waisung, the home base, has been following the movements of Sabo and his party. The Waesung warriors in the square knew about Sabo and others' plan from the very beginning, and looked forward to it for a whole hour. Now, the exciting raid finally started. These fighters who regret not being able to participate in the battle in person are naturally very excited, shouting to cheer for their partners in the battle. Finally, let's get started, boys. Nice job, keep beating the fuck up, Sabo boys. This is a battle meeting organized by the boss, how can you allow you to occupy the hut and not shit? The veterans also screamed strangely and were very excited. 4. The 4 emperors and 100 beasts pirates and the thieves, who used to be marine, naturally have long disliked them. It's just that in the new world, even their marines were tied up and couldn't fight happily. Now is the last chance. Although they couldn't join it in person, they watched the disciples they brought to fight in their place, and the result was the same. PFF'd, ha ha ha, as expected of my grandchildren. Garp sat on the pony and laughed while eating senbei. Zephyr, Smoker, Vice Admiral Momonga and others on the side knew that the 3 of them are your grandsons. There is no need to emphasize this again and again. Roof of the headquarters building. It's crazy, it's really a bunch of crazy guys. Just a few people went to the site of the 2 big 4 emperor pirates to make a fuss, it's really dead. The big stomach girl Jewelry Bonnie sat with her legs crossed, biting the pizza in her hands without any image. That's my place. Roland smiled and corrected. Hearing this, Bonnie's delicate body couldn't help but stagnate. Thinking about it carefully, it probably seems to be true. Bah, is this the time to care about this? I mean, Uncle Hero, those of your family. If the little monsters are not careful, they won't get out. Hey, are you not worried at all? Bonnie asked rhetorically. Hee hee. Roland hee hee isho. Bonnie. I just felt numb in my heart. In the relationship, only she, an outsider, is worried about the possible consequences. The Lord is not worried at all. Ha ha ha. Aware of Bonnie's resentful expression, Luo Lin couldn't help laughing twice, and subconsciously raised his hand and touched her little head. The angry Bonnie ate Roland's 3 pizzas in one go. Bonnie, who was very happy with Roland, Shichibukai's dangling heart finally let go. Looks like I've made the right decision, and it's great that Bonnie can stay here. Tyrant Bear thought. A slightly stiff smile appeared on the face of the machine again. Chapter 404 Siblings and Siblings. Reinforcements and Reinforcements. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. The time went to 11 o'clock in the morning. There is still 1 hour left until the end of the first round of the Budo tournament. The eyes of the world are on the martial arts venue. The central focus of the martial arts venue is to transfer to the ancient battlefield. By Crocodile, Sabo and his party pushed this conference to the highest level in one breath. Somewhere in the Taiku venue. After an initial big win, the Waesung assault team finally encountered the elite real fighting team of the 4 emperors and 100 beasts. The Devil's Foot finishes. Sanji, whose right foot was blazing with blazing heat, stepped on the moon step and jumped high. His body turned into a spinning top, spinning towards the spine headed by the beasts. The dragon head slammed away. Fancy, what kind of plane are you doing? 6 Sons of the Sky, the ancient species of dragon and dragon fruit, the spine back, the dragon form ability person. Peggy looked up casually. About Sanji's angry outburst, he didn't even dodge or defend at all. Thanks to Peggy Wan's Toda. The instructor's devil training exploded. Boom, which shone like a soldering iron, kicked heavily on Peggywan's head. Oh. Unexpectedly, Sanji's thorny back with the weight of his foot, long Peggywan's 2 dragon legs sank heavily. His eyes popped out, as if to pop out of their sockets. The ground on which Peggy Wan stood collapsed. The next thing to fall is Thornyback, the huge body of the dragon. Lord Peggy Wan. Peggy Wan, hey, just kidding. Watching the powerful Linkong Luzi get knocked down by the opponent with one blow. The other real fights and ordinary soldiers in the beast squad couldn't help but shouted in shock. Relative. On the other side, Usopp, Fishman Young Nobel and others shouted excitedly. Sanji is doing well, huh? Iron Man Frankie whistled. What 100 beast pirates, is it just like that? Usopp put his hands on his hips, smug. Ha ha ha, Usopp. Usopp's big hand fell on Usopp's shoulder and slapped it with a jolt. Although you are telling the truth, don't underestimate your opponent in battle. Usopp reminded. Dong, just as Usopp's voice fell, a loud bang suddenly came from the depression in the center of the battlefield, causing the ground to shake. At the same time, it also made the faces of Usopp and the others freeze. The smoky dust dissipated. The huge ancient spine back, Long Huang shook his body. Bastard, who do you think I am? I am one of the 6 sons of Linkong. Peggy Wan said coldly, his eyes emitting a cruel light belonging to a superior predator. Ling's Usopp and others couldn't help holding their breaths. The 6 sons of Linkong are already the core cadres of the beasts. There are 2 or 3 of them, and they even have the strength to challenge the disaster level. Lacey Rudo. Ah. Hearing this, the expression on Usopp's face became stiffer. Sanji, your injury isn't healed yet, why don't you try it for me next? The black-haired swordsman Lucio rode. No, leave this person to me. Sanji spoke calmly, and the expression on his face was unprecedentedly solemn. You bastards, don't even try to run away, little ones, come on, shred them. Peggy Wan shouted and gave the order to start a full-scale war. Dozens of demon fruit creators with strange shapes and shapes of beasts charged with strange screams. The scene was chaotic in an instant. At the same time, the battle between Sanji and Peggy Wan also resumed. Who has only been in contact with Haki for only 3 months, is still much younger than before, facing the serious Valley 6 Sun Pejuan. Under the incomparable power of the Thornback, the dragon. Sanji's already injured right foot made an overwhelmed crackling sound. Ha ha ha, bastard, let me bite off your proud feet. Peggy Wan laughed grimly. Seizing the opportunity, he bit Sanji's feet, who were stiff in the sky. Sanji. Usopp and the others suddenly shouted anxiously. Clap, was the sound of the gun being loaded in Usopp's hand. In the sky of Bearing Bear, the special regeneration blue flame belonging to the Phoenix ignited. The reason why Marco put forward this raid plan so enthusiastically was to take precautions and make good friends with Wei Sung in advance. In this way, if Dad meets Luo Lin in the future, he can also say a word. With this goal in mind, Marco naturally wouldn't watch Sanji get seriously injured by Peggy Wan. But just before Marco made a move, a pink shadow suddenly flashed across the battlefield. Poisonous powder is like a thin backstage, between Sanji and Pejuan. Stimulated by the smell of the highly poisonous powder, Peggy Wan couldn't help but back away. Reiju, why are you here? Sanji said in shock. Maybe it happened to be passing by. Reiju shows off Isho. Sanji. Whoosh whoosh. A figure flashed between the mountains and forests, so fast that even the shadow could not be seen clearly. Be careful. Changed suddenly, and he pulled the defenseless Reiju behind him with a wave of his hand, and raised his foot to attack with Renkyaku Tempest Kick. However, his Renkyaku Tempest Kick air blade dissipated suddenly before it appeared. Boom, followed by a loud bang. Who was hit hard, coughed up a mouthful of blood and fell heavily to the ground. 1 or 2, die for me. The irritable old sister Yuluti fell heavily to the ground. Old lady. Peggy Wan exclaimed with joy. You dare to provoke our thieves, you don't have to leave today. Other direction, the thieves, ministers and cadres also arrived. The bastard of the red-haired pirates, stay today. Perospero slapped the ground with his right hand. On one side, a huge candy wall with a hardness comparable to steel rises from the ground. Besieged the crowd. Variety, Oven, Daifuku and others are proud of it. Suddenly, a sharp atmospheric explosion sounded in the sky. Mixed colors, violence. Spark red, electric shock blue, and winch green three-color mixture, powerfully defeated Perospero's candy wall. Chapter 405 The First Chaos in History Open black lens bracket 3/4 for full order close black lens bracket. Color burst. 1 red, 1 blue, 1 green, the three colors are intertwined with each other, across the sky. It passed, even the atmosphere made an overwhelmed explosion. In the violent roar of boom, Perosperone's candy wall, which was as hard as steel, exploded under the three-color combined crit. The dazzling three-color light converges, revealing the three uniquely shaped killer figures underneath. It's Germa 66 those guys. Ane's little face showed a little surprise. What is Germa doing here? It even opened a way out for us. Obviously, not long ago, he was also against Sanji. Usopp, Vince and the others were all confused. Don't get me wrong, we just follow the rules of the conference and come here to harvest the heads and advance. Sparks Red IG stubbornly said. Everyone. Germa 66, it's really courting death. Since you're here, let's die together. Come on, kill them. Perospero and other imperial ministers, the cadres looked gloomy as if they were about to drip, and issued an order to kill them. Melee is on the verge of breaking out. In the other battlefields not far from Boom Boom, the fierce melee also started. Appearing in front of Straw Hat Luffy, Pirate Hunter Zoro and Sea Hero Jinbei 3 is the team led by Thief General Star Smoothie. Luffy brother, Zoro brother, be careful, the opponent is Smoothie, one of the 4 generals of the Thief, and his strength is not trivial. Jinbei stared at Smoothie solemnly, and spoke in a deep voice. Wait, Jinbei's voice fell, and the Straw Hat Luffy's figure had already shot out, obviously not taking Jinbei's reminder to heart. That woman is Janao. Looking at the great sword in Smoothie's hand, Zoro's face instantly showed a few interesting expressions. Luffy, give me that woman. While Zoro was talking, his figure also rushed out towards Smoothie. Jinbei. What kind of people, feelings, not a single obedient person. As expected of a monster from that city. 2 arrogant boys, they are really courting death. A cold light flashed in Smoothie's eyes, and she stopped paddling. The big sword in his hand was unsheathed, a sword was cut out, and a huge ravine was split open in the earth. Ah, oh. Luffy exclaimed, and hurriedly flashed sideways. The sword light that split the ground touched Zoro's 3 knives, and a huge force pushed Zoro back more than 10 meters. As expected of a General Star, interesting. Zoro grinned Isho. Instead of the slightest bit of timidity on his face, he was rather proud. Seeing this, Smoothie's pretty face became more and more gloomy. Don't underestimate us, give it all to me. Smoothie waved her hand and hit the command. Next moment, the more than 500 elite thieves gathered here all came out, and they were about to use the crowd tactics on the 3 of Luffy in the straw hat. Quote, ... Suddenly, a counting sound came from the rear. It was accompanied by the screams of the people. The Cavendish. Bastard Cavendish, what do you think? Beautiful sword blue bird. The merciless big move of Cavendish, who is really simple to harvest people's heads, is frequent. In the other direction, the blue circle spreads out in an instant. Trafalgar Law, damn, my body. Ah. The wave of the times is about to set off. If I can't ride the wind, I will be swallowed up by the waves. My purpose is only one from beginning to end, so I will use you as my vote. Trafalgar Law spoke in a deep voice, and the demon sword cried and waved again. You are Hawkins, the magician of Lake. You even provoked us thieves, are you bastards looking for death? I have calculated just now that I am not dead today. Magician Hawkins said calmly. I'm just here to join in the fun. Drake said solemnly. Third-party battlefield. In front of Sabo, Ace and Crocodile 3, there are more than 2,000 elites of the beasts and aunts who have reorganized their situation. Among them, there are strong men close to the level of 3 disasters, such as Foxford and Fishman Sasaki. Whitebeard Pirates 2nd Division Captain Fire Fist Ace, Shichibukai Crocodile, Dragon King Sabo. This is really an interesting combination, I admit your combat power. Fishman Sasaki laughed. That's a real thank you. Ace grinned. But with the 3 of you alone, don't leave today because you want to fight against our army. A cruel smile appeared on Fishman Sasaki's face. Goo-ha-ha-ha, but it's not. You can have the final say. Crocodile smiled grimly. Then let's try it. Phosphord, who was firing his sword. However, he did not wait for Phosphord's knife to approach. A long knife with electric light suddenly sprang out from the slanting stab. Who said Ace was only 3 of them? New World Pirate Captain Leeching Makugai with a lightning beard laughed. Makugai. Ace's eyes widened and he couldn't help screaming. Ace, I'm here too. Doma, a ranger with monkeys, appears. Doma, why are you here? Ace's eyes widened. As you can see, we are also here to participate in the conference. In the second round, we are our opponents. Dorma the ranger with the monkey grinned. Damn. Charlotte Montdor suddenly became unhappy when she looked at the 2 New World pirate captains who came to disrupt the situation. But if it's just 2 people, it won't make much difference to the battle situation. In this situation, let alone 2 people, even if there are 200 people and 200 people, they will all die. The grim whispers of Montdor. Just the second Montdor stood. The profound truth of 8 Chongquan. No cone dragon, no cone nails. Boom, the earth bloomed with large cracks crisscrossing one after another, like a spreading spider web. Garp's grandson, where? That is the roar of Qinzhou, the pillar of Hapo Navy. Destruction, cannon, boom. It was New World Fighter Edio throwing his fist. Cause, retribution. Euroj, a supernova from Sky Island, also appeared. Life gathered at the Taiku venue. This is the beginning of the biggest melee in history. 1 hour time limit. Chapter 406 The Road to Buggy's Promotion. Epidemic Queen fell. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Time is passing little by little. There is still the last half hour before the end of the first round of the martial arts tournament. The Taiku venue previously occupied by the 2 emperors has become the focus and center of much attention. Heroes from all walks of life gathered. The violent collision that made the island tremble was staged all over the Taiku venue, dizzying. Germa 66, Hapo Navy Qinzhou, Rommel's Side Cavendish, Leeching Makugai, Ranger Dorma, Magic Hawkins, Fallen Marine Rear Admiral Drake, Death Surgeon Trafalgar Law, Strange Monk Euroj. Countless sea experts and strong men are involved. Among them, there are rushers like Cavendish who are simply picking up heads to seek revenge by mistake, but instead help the enemy's Qinzhou. Affiliates of the prospective Chinese organization with a trading name like Trafalgar Law. In addition, there is also the guy who fell into the trap, and took advantage of this rare opportunity to beat the guy who fell into the water. Life. The heroes of the sea gathered for various purposes and opened the prelude to the first chaotic war in history. The Taiku venue, which attracted most of the high-ranking players in the venue, was very lively. In comparison, the other 9 venue islands are naturally much deserted. Even if there is a battle, it's just chickens pecking at each other, completely incomparable to the fierce battle at the Taiku venue. Of course. For the Giviers, who are now hiding in every corner of the venue, ready to wait until the end of time. The current desolate situation is a good thing. At this moment, some hidden corner of the Spring Island venue. Group of pirates is still there, lurking. Captain Buggy, what are we going to do next? The rest of us don't expect to advance, but definitely send Captain Buggy to the second round. Captain Buggy is our last hope. If it's not enough in the end, I'll sacrifice it once, just ask Captain Buggy to take it easy. The people of the Buggy Pirates lowered their voices, with a firm look on their faces. Buggy, God, let me advance. The ghost wants to advance to the second round. Haven't you seen it? There are monsters everywhere. Lao Tzu really believed in your evil talents to participate in this terrible conference. It was so terrifying that you still wanted Lao Tzu to advance to the first round. The second round must be death. Joke. Don't go. Resolutely don't make the cut. Buggy's heart is roaring wildly. Having said that, now the number of defeats on Buggy has reached 96. It's only one step away from qualifying. How the mediocre Buggy accumulated such a considerable number of defeats. There was a rustling sound from the grass adjacent to, swish swish, which made Buggy's ears move and instantly became alert. The first strike is strong, and the second strike suffers. Buggy lifted his foot and threw it out. The top of the specially made clown shoes opens with a tiny hole. An improved version of the Buggy bomb, the small hemp-based bomb popped out and landed in the dense grass, exploding a huge spark. At the same time, the 4 abandoner pirates hidden in it were blown into the sky. Defeat the number +4 big pirates. Buggy successfully advanced. Amazing. Captain Buggy is amazing. As expected of Captain Buggy. It was so good. That way, we don't have to sacrifice ourselves. Captain Buggy, we've done everything we can. It's time for your show, Captain. The people of the Buggy Pirates were either excited or spoke deeply. Buggy. What a woolen thread, so why is that in the grass just? 4 people, then again, why did this uncle encounter such weak scum along the way? What kind of luck is this? If I had known it earlier, it would have been better to be punched by someone. What a blast. And you guys, what do you mean? You've done everything you can from the beginning to the end. Buggy's heart is broken. Want to cry without tears. Boom, the earth suddenly trembled. Captain Buggy. Chief of Staff Kabaji shouted. What's the matter? Buggy responded angrily. The tremor of, dong dong, became more and more obvious. Needless to say, the recovered Buggy also realized the problem. It seems that the source of the vibration caused by the running of prehistoric beasts is the adjacent Shah Island venue. Driven by curiosity, the members of Buggy's group used their hands and feet to climb the hill at the junction of the spring and summer venues. Then what does that mean? Are the people at the venue cringing? This is a martial arts conference, not a dance competition. The people of Buggy's group watched the strange scene at the adjacent Sha Dao venue, and couldn't help but lose their voices. It's not good, it's not good, it's definitely not good. Buggy looked flustered and shook his head in shock. Kick and kick. Sha Dao venue, a dancer dressed in fancy dress taps the shoes on the feet. Tread like a non-stop. Seems to have some kind of special rhythm, which makes people unconsciously immersed in it, into his rhythm. Quote, Swing with me. The man in the fancy dress held the microphone and shouted intoxicated. Oh. Sighed, the third leader of the Beast Pirates, the Queen of Plague raised her hands high, immersed in the intense dance, unable to extricate herself. The other sighed. Hyaming Scratchman Apu are also passionate accompaniment. The largest melee in the history of the Taiku venue is gradually approaching its climax. Similarly, the dance fighting event at this summer island venue also came to the highest court. Kick and kick. Of the dance steps of more than 2,000 contestants at the Sha Dao venue. Sound. Dong 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 dong, is the sound of the Earth's heart. DDDD, is the countdown sound of the last 10 seconds of the first round of the martial arts conference. When the hourglass of the clock on the big screen goes to 0. This is the end of the first round of the martial arts tournament. The island also collapsed at this moment. Chapter 407 Luo Lin. If God is not good, then I will come. 1/4. The time goes to 12 o'clock noon. This is the end of the first knockout round of the martial arts tournament with a time limit of 3 hours. Dang, 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 the melodious and high-pitched going bell came from above the 9 days, announcing the end of the first round of the competition. Call. Listening to the soothing going bell, the reporters and audiences in the two live broadcast squares let out a sigh of relief unconsciously. The tense hearts are also relaxed. It's finally over. As expected of a martial arts conference that brings together the sea powerhouses from all over the world, it's really amazing. Just the first round of knockout matches has been played so intensely. What will the next second round be like? Compared to the first round that just ended, the second round of the conference is bound to be more ups and downs. The reporters and the audience in the live broadcast square had a lot of discussion. Hey, wait. Suddenly, someone screamed in surprise. It's not over yet. Someone shouted again. The battle at the Taiku venue is not over yet. They're still fighting. What kind of trouble is this? Obviously the first round of knockouts is over. It won't be of any use to continue playing. The reporters and the audience shouted in an uproar. No, that Taiku venue is now a real battlefield. The Emperor of the Sea who reigns at the top of the New World, and the pirate group of the Four Emperors level, how can others provoke casually? It's already an endless war. No one can stop it. The reporters and audiences in the two live broadcast squares were all stunned. The faces of the people watching the battle in Waesung were also full of worry. Although they have the assistance of heroes from all over the sea, their opponents are after all the top 4 Emperor-level pirates in the sea. In the past hour, they have achieved enough to be proud of. Just the same, the people of Waesung squad can't be unscathed either. In an hour-long fierce scuffle, everyone in the Waesung assault squad is adorned. Injuries vary in severity. Physical strength is also greatly lost. It couldn't last for long. In comparison, hundreds of beasts and thieves united, and suffered heavy losses on all sides, but relying on their own huge numbers. There are still at least half of the pirates still strong, forming a meticulous encircling net under the command of the cadres. Encircle everyone. Hey, thief, didn't you hear that the first knockout round of the conference has ended? Hapo Navy Deputy Commander Abu gritted his teeth and asked. Ha, it's over indeed. But so what? Charlotte Montdor, the book fruit-capable person, stared like copper bells, emitting a bloodthirsty light. Ahem, you bastards, dare to provoke the majesty of our thieves, there is only a dead end waiting for you. Pale-face, Charlotte Oven, who looked seriously injured, coughed out a mouthful of blood and shouted coldly. Go die. The irritable old sister Uluti is like a female Tyrannosaurus, constantly launching violent storms. Under the powerful offensive of Uluti. Even though Ain, Bins and others, who were Zephyr's proud disciples, joined forces, they were still forced to retreat. Luffy, are you still moving? Ace, who joined together, looked at Luffy, who was panting with his tongue out. Of course you can. The youth in the straw hat of vitality regained his vitality in an instant, and he definitely clenched his fists. Sorry, everyone, I slightly underestimated the level of beasts and madness. Marco smiled wryly and apologized. No, Mr. Marco, you have helped us a lot. If it wasn't for Mr. Marco before, we would never have survived now. Haired swordsman Lucio and the fishman youth Nobel said seriously. The rest of the crowd nodded in approval. It's just that Marco's face was not relieved at all. Originally, he just planned to get away after a wave of beasts and ants cadres rushed back. Who would have thought that the plan could not keep up with the changes? Things got worse and worse. It even developed into a small war. Now it's even more of a dilemma. Just when Marco was thinking hard about a feasible way to break the game, the conference broadcast floating in the air finally sounded again. The contestants of the martial arts venue. Just now, the first round of the knockout round of the conference has ended, and the final ranking list is still sorting out. It is expected to be announced in 3 minutes. In addition, the second round of the conference will officially start in 10 minutes. Please prepare in advance. Before that, please do not have any personal fights, otherwise you will be responsible for the consequences. Shaki's voice was broadcast throughout the conference. Listening to the announcement on the radio, the audience first fell silent, and then there was an uproar. The second round of the conference will start in 10 minutes. Isn't there time to rest and recover? Just kidding. No breathing room. The first round and the second round are directly and seamlessly connected. I didn't hear about it beforehand. If you knew that was the case, I wouldn't come to join in the fun. A waste of physical strength. But now I can finally breathe a sigh of relief. Yes, after all, the organizer has already spoken. Taiku venue. While the advanced contestants who participated in the Imperial War were complaining, they couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. Although the news of the 10-minute start of the second round of the conference was very hasty, by the time Rear Admiral they were rescued from the beasts and siege. It should have been so. Damn, bastards of the beasts, do you still want to fight? Didn't you hear the previous announcement? It was a warning from a hero. When they realized that the beasts and thieves still had no intention of giving up, the people immediately screamed in anger. Hee hee. Ha ha ha. Are you also considered a pirate? It's so naive. There is a difference of thousands of meters between here and that Watchung. The time for the people over there is enough time for us to solve you. The ministers and cadres of the two emperors all laughed grimly. The world must know the price of provoking the Emperor of the Sea. Sparrow and Fishman Sasaki are full of killing intent, and they step forward together. Today you are all dead, and God can't save you, I said. Charlotte Montdor spoke coldly. Oh yeah. Just before the beasts and pirates moved, a calm voice sounded without warning. If God can't do it, what if I come? Above the sky, Roland smiled and asked. Chapter 408 seconds. The deterrent power of the tyrant. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. Taiku venue. The super ancient forest that originally covered the island is no longer. Under the impact and fluctuation of the fierce battles of the strong men from all sides of the sea, the earth is full of ravines. The entire island is on the verge of collapse. At this moment. Central area of Swire venue. In the dilapidated battlefield with a radius of several thousand meters, hundreds of beasts and the Emperor, nearly 3,000 elite troops besieged more than 100 people in the center of the battlefield. But the weird thing is, which gathered thousands of strong men, was dead silent at the moment. Whether it is the trapped more than 100 sea powerhouses, or the arrogant 4 Emperor pirates. All fell silent at the moment. Who suddenly appeared in the sky? That, just standing, is even more dazzling than the sun, the existence that attracts the world's attention, it is the strongest. Lord of Weisung, Hero Luo Lin. The 19th son of the Charlotte family, the fruit of the book. The able Montdor looked up at the sky, his mouth was wide open, and his mouth was so dry that he couldn't say a word. Quickly occupied his whole body from the inside out. Thinking of the rhetoric that he put down earlier. Then think of the plain rhetorical question after the monster in the sky appeared. Charlotte Montdor has a white face even if it's green. It's a fucking beeping dog. Why did this monster come so quickly? Montdor roared in horror. Not just Montdor. At this moment, everyone present, the beasts and the ant, all had extreme panic on their faces. Unable to calm down. In front of that person, in front of the hero Luo Lin, who can calm down? This pressure is even more terrifying than my mother. Smoothie's face was horrified. Damn, how could this monster be so fast? Mom, why haven't they come yet? Come quickly. With us alone, can we really stop this man? No, absolutely not. Charlotte Sparrow, Oven, Daifuku and other ministers all looked ferocious, gritted their teeth, and forced themselves to calm down. However, the trembling of the body caused by the fear from the depths of the soul could not be concealed. Not only because of now, but also because Roland had left a deep psychological shadow on them when they were young decades ago. I can't forget it, but it's getting clearer and clearer. If anyone still wants to fight now, I can accompany one or two, whoever wants to come, or you can go together if you want. In the sky, Luo Shu spoke calmly. The confidence of his words was the same as that of Haki. These words were replaced by others, they would definitely be scorned by countless people. But now, speaking from Luo Lin's mouth, it is so natural. So persuasive and self-confident. No one will have any doubts about it. All because the person who opened the mouth was Roland. The marine hero who defeated the Sea Lord Rox 36 years ago. Equal to Garp, a hero with a great record, the Rollins. The New World's greatest swordsman, Luo Lin, defeated the Hawkeye Mahawk. Blah blah blah. Even if all people know is iceberg. But the weight that this name has in people's hearts is no longer under the Sea Emperor of the New World. He is looking at me. Sensing the sight from Roland. The long-legged rowing star Smoothie instantly widened her beautiful eyes. Her long legs couldn't help but tighten, and even her breathing was stagnant. Fortunately, this invisible pressure came and went quickly. The next moment is to turn to others. Fuck, don't look at me. Sparrow cursed in his heart and quickly lowered his head. The devil wants to fight you, this monster. Charlotte Daifuku shrank her neck. Cough cough. Oven, who has the ability to heat the fruit, was in a hurry and coughed up 2 mouthfuls of blood. There was a domino effect on the battlefield. Wherever Roland's line of sight passed in the sky, the Emperor's pirates bowed their heads in haste. I didn't dare to look at him for even a second, for fear of being slaughtered by the chicken that was used as an example. Soon. This wind hangs on the beast pirates on the other side. There are still no exceptions. Even if the beasts are full of animal nature and arrogant and domineering, the cadres are all cowardly at the moment, like Erha. The one with the tail clips the tail, and the one without the tail holds the head and squat. This is the deterrent power from the bully. Phosphord, I remember you said you wanted to fight him just now, don't you dare. Fishman Sasaki, who bowed his head, poked Phosphord's waist beside him, and urged. Fursford. Don't you mean to ask me to send it? Besides, you bastard told me not to be a coward, why can't you get on it? I think you were just wanting to inherit the position of the first 6 sons of Lousy. More angry he became, and his eyes towards Fishman Sasaki gradually became unpleasant. Hey! At this time when the audience was full of cowardice, the brave and unyielding voice who dared to face Luo Lin finally stood up. It is Wuluti, the well-known poisonous-tongued sister of the beast's pirates. Just don't wait, what Wuluti said. The giant beauty Black Maria on the side hurriedly threw her to the ground. Block Wuluti's mouth with her huge body. Lulu-chan, don't provoke that monster now, wait until Mr. Kaido and the others come, and be obedient. Himaria said with a panicked expression. Yes, yes, old lady, wake up. His younger brother Peggy Wan was also terrified. Don't forget, last night, old lady, you still suffered a lot from that person's subordinates. Last night. Heard brother Peggy Wan mention, last night. Always fearless, the hot-headed Wuluti finally recalled the fear of being dominated by Luo Lin last night. May's eyes widened involuntarily, and a hint of panic appeared on her delicate and pretty face. Subconsciously, he hugged his head to protect the double horns on his head. The small mouth under the mask was tightly pursed, not daring to say another word. Hee. In the sky, Roland hee Isho. Step by step, step on the air and climb down. In the end, he came to the front of the Wei Sung team. You did a great job this time. ... Thank you for the reward from the boss of The Sun is Going Down. Thank you for the reward from the boss of The Sun Goes Down. Summer reading is fun every day, charge 100 and get 500 coupons. : Immediate top-up event time, August 7th to August 9th. Chapter 409 Shocked. Another dark horse. Open black lens bracket 3/4 for order close black lens bracket. All eyes are on. Roland above the sky stepped on the invisible atmosphere and descended step by step. Finally, they came to Sabo and his party of Waesung team. Gentle eyes swept across the excited faces, and finally grinned Isho. I have seen your actions, and you have done a good job. Roland nodded, expressing his approval for their bold action. Oh. Hearing the approval from him, the excitement on the faces of the Waesung team became even more intense. The joy was beyond words. On the other hand, looking at the ministers and cadres of the beasts and the party, the expressions on their faces are as ugly as eating dead flies. Of Usopp and the others couldn't be more dazzling in their eyes. It was like a sarcasm for them, and they couldn't help but burn with anger. However, no matter how unwilling, no matter how angry, how can they only swallow this breath before their invincible captain arrives? He. The youth in the Vitality straw hat laughed. Teacher, there are still many deficiencies in our actions this time. Sabo was not as heartless as his younger brother, and began to reflect. Commander Sabo, we should leave the reflections until we go back. We just have to cheer here. Shimei Xiaofeng happily danced around the ballet. Yes, the boss is mighty. Long-nosed Usopp agrees. Hockey. Candle 3 is not far behind in flattering. The crowd cheered with joy one after another. Even for an old man like Crocodile, the corners of his mouth curled up unconsciously. Usopp and Laziru looked at each other with shock on their faces. Marco let out a long sigh, and the big stone hanging in his heart finally fell to the ground. This is what Big Brother Tiger used to follow. Ah, hero. Hexia Jinbei stared at Luo Lin without blinking, murmuring unconsciously in his mouth. Hero, Mr. Roland. Not far away, Chinjiao, the pillar and cone of Hapo Navy, who had recovered a little bit of sanity, also had an excited look on his old face. Old man. Grandpa, do you really know that? Hero. Lao Kai and Abu widened their eyes and asked in surprise. Chinjiao didn't seem to hear the grandchildren's questions, but the excitement on the old face was even more intense. Especially when Roland noticed his presence and nodded to him. Call. The other side. The two powerful captains of the New World, Leeching Makuge and the Ranger Domashi, let out a long breath. Ace looked at with a shocked look on his face. Look what I'm doing. Ace was puzzled. Ace, tell us honestly, Dad. And that, redhead and that, hero, is there really no connection? The Ranger Dorma and Leeching Makuge asked together. How can they be connected? Ace became more and more puzzled. If it doesn't matter, why are you and Marco, and the red-headed Usopp and Readaloud? The doubts on the faces of Doma and Makugai were even greater. You said this. In fact, the Straw Hat Boy and Sabo over there are my younger brothers, and the long nose over there is Usopp's son. They are also good friends with Luffy. As for Marco, it probably depends on me. On the face of it. Ace smiled naturally. Doma, Makugai. By the way, Doma, I'll tell you a secret, don't be too surprised when you hear it. Ace pretended to be mysterious. What a secret, what a secret? Ranger Doma asked curiously. Although Dad and Mr. Roland didn't meet, that Golden Lion Shiki is now that gentleman's younger brother, and Rayleigh and the others. Even if he had known about this for a long time, Ace's face was still full of incredulity when he talked about it now. Not to mention Doma and Makuge, who were the first to hear about this disruptive event. The two of them were shocked to petrify by this huge secret on the spot. So much so that not a word can be uttered. Aside. Supernova Trafalgar Law, Magician Hawkins, and Drake 3 looked at Ace 3, who whispered and then petrified, their faces flashed with curiosity and incomprehension. Even if they fought side by side not long ago, it doesn't mean that they are a partnership, so it's not easy to ask. Hey, haven't the statistics been compiled yet? I must be the first in the list of the first round of the conference. The pirate noble son Cavendish, riding a white horse, finally spoke. The focus is very different from what the others have always had. Ling's people who were familiar with his temperament were speechless for a while. Not long after Cavendish's inquiry fell, a special sound effect suddenly came from the big screen in the sky. It represents the completion of the statistics of the first round of the conference. Come here. Who can take the top spot? I just picked up a lot of heads. Although it may not have much substantive significance, let's pay attention to the wave for the time being. People all looked up and their eyes fell on the sky screen. And then again dumbfounded. Originally, most of the top 30 positions in the list of defeated people were occupied by the officials of the two emperors. During the last hour of fighting, whether it is Phosphord, Uluti, or Oven, Smoothie and other top-ranking powerhouses, without exception, they all fall out of the dozens. The reason for this is obvious. Even if Wuluti and others were unwilling, they had no choice but to accept it. Successfully counterattacked in the last hour, and it was not Luffy, Sabo and others who made it to the top of the list. After all, their opponents are basically the Emperor's cadres. Naturally, the number of beatings with the Imperial cadres alone cannot increase. Therefore, it is Cavendish, Trafalgar Law, Drake, etc. who occupy the top position of the list now. The powerhouses who are free from the outer area and abuse the Emperor like pirates. 4. Cavendish, who is particularly persistent in the first, relies on the second personality to roam the battlefield like a wind demon and Itachi, and chooses soldiers of average strength to start. In the end, a total of 512,512 heads were captured. There is a gap of 100 with the latter. However, even so, he is still only second. The person occupying the top spot has twice as many defeats as the second-place Cavendish, reaching an astonishing 1,024. It was a man in a fancy dance suit. Another dark horse of this conference has appeared. Chapter 410 Destroy the Island. Another Rock's Remnant. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Look, the list of the first round of the conference has been announced. Only 235 people 235 have successfully passed the first round of knockout rounds. Two islands watching the battle and the live broadcast plaza shouted loudly. The people who were originally staring at the hero who appeared at the venue turned their heads and looked at a ranking list projected on the other screen. Sure enough, the leader of the final number of people in this conference is that card. Not. How could it not be that one? Cavendish, the king of leaks. Kama Itachi, who picked up leaks in the previous fierce battle, is not the first. Hey, kidding. That. The number of defeats for the first place is twice that of the second place Cavendish. Wow, when I saw the man in the fancy dance suit who was at the top of the list, and his amazing number of defeats over 1,000. The reporters and audiences in the two live broadcast squares were shocked and stunned. It's true. It's actually defeated more than 1,000 people. How holy is this man? It's not a statistic error, is it? Obviously we all pay attention. How does this person do it? I've never seen it before. Could it be that he killed 1,000 people in an instant? How could Wei Sung's statistics be wrong? Dark horse. Another dark horse has appeared. The live broadcast square was chaotic in an instant. At this moment, the most unacceptable, the second person who accepts this result is Cavendish. Damn. Cavendish fell from his horse and was on all fours. Second, why is it only the second? I'm so unwilling. Cavendish looked sad and unwilling. I thought that my top spot must have been stabilized. I finally have to accept the world's attention on this stage. However, in the middle of it, another dark horse was killed and ran in front of him, throwing him far away in an instant. That astonishing doubling difference is really powerless. Looking at the lost Cavendish, Trafalgar Law, Drake and others all subconsciously hide away. Dangerous second personality just because he was hit so hard. However, that, who suddenly came out of the sky and jumped to the top of the list, who is the hilarious dancer? Next second. The answer is revealed. The astonishing truth stored by the videophone bug is projected onto the big screen. The Sha Dao venue, which is 4 islands away from the Taiku venue, just opposite. In this screen, thousands of contestants at the Sha-Dao venue followed a certain rhythm and danced enthusiastically and unrestrainedly. Turn the venue into a huge dance floor. The centerpiece of the dance floor was the man in the dance suit who topped the list. What does this mean? Are they all idiots dancing? This is a martial arts competition, not a dance competition. Who can accept such a funny person at the top of the list? The faces of the contestants in the martial arts venue were full of absurd expressions. Gathered, that guy Hyaming actually ran there. Looking at the supernova EPUB who accompanies everyone's dance in the picture, Drake couldn't help but look stunned. There's something wrong, they don't seem to be dancing voluntarily. The magician Hawkins seemed to have noticed something, and a solemn expression appeared on his face. Not just him. The people gathered at the Taiku venue now are all strong. Naturally, some clues can be seen. Especially the pirates of the beasts. Everyone couldn't help but scream. That's the queen, right? Why does the queen dance there? That queen, big idiot, we beat to death here, but he was dancing over there. The poisonous-tongued Sister Yuludi's silver teeth creaked. Sister, look carefully, the dancers in that venue seem to be controlled by some force. Peggy Wan said with a look of horror. I don't know about the others, but that idiot queen is definitely enjoying it. Yulu T affirmed. The 1,000-person dance party on the screen gradually came to an end. Under the stunned gaze of the people, the ground at the Sha-Dao venue shook with a magnitude visible to the naked eye. Hey, something bad is going to happen, right? The Ranger Dorma was shocked. Is it about to reveal the truth of solving thousands of people in an instant? Monk Yoroj clenched his fists. The earth is shaking, could it be the resonance force of the dance of 1,000 people? Trafalgar Law looked horrified. Boom, finally. The final moments of the dangerous dance come. Along with the uniform footsteps of the dancers at the Sha-Dao venue, they descended. The terrifying vibration sublimated in an instant. The huge Sha-Dao venue exploded at this moment, and everything was invisible. I don't know after the past. The roar of the explosion gradually subsided. The cloud of smoke dissipated. What reappeared was a dilapidated island. Central Summer Island. The man in fancy dress that triggered the crisis of the island destruction, Vivi bowed like a gentleman, bowed his waist, and seemed to be making the final curtain call. Not far away, the only one still awake is the chubby Queen of the Plague. Looking at the terrifying scenes around, even the Queen of Epidemic has no smile on her face. Some just looked like ghosts in horror. The screen ends here. The truth of everything is clear. It's not that Wei Sung's statistics are wrong. But there really is another. A dark horse. Hiss. Gudong gudong. The sound of cold air sucked back and forth one after another. There's another incredible monster. Dad, do you know who it is? Usopp looked at his father in fear. Usopp shook his head silently. It's another monster I haven't seen before. Isn't it really the remnants of the Ocean Overlord rocks? Here comes the group. Little fatty Readaloud guessed. Whoever he is, that weird power is dangerous. Even Marco, the second in command of the Whitebeard pirates, had a solemn expression on his face. Tutor. Quote. Mr. Roland. The eyes of Sabo and others all fell on Luo Lin. So soon. Nearby Germa 66. Supernova Drake, etc. All of them looked at Roland. Looking forward to the legendary heroes to be able to solve their puzzles. It started. Finally, Roland spoke. However, it is not for everyone's confusion, but to announce the opening of the second round of the conference. Chapter 411 Survival Trial. The pirate version eats chicken. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. It started. As Luo Lin's voice fell, the sound of breaking wind suddenly came from the distant horizon. It was one flying arena after another. Under the shocked gazes of people, a total of 10 flying arenas burst into the air, floated in a ring over the top 10 venues, and finally landed in the center of each venue. Chi-chi, a few snowflakes flashed across the live broadcast screen in the sky. Then appeared in people's sight as a beautiful lady with black hair. It's Miss Robin. Miss Robin. Looking at Robin on the screen, everyone in the Waesung team shouted. Teacher, is this okay? Sabo looked at Roland with a worried look on his face. No problem. Roland nodded calmly and confidently. Once at the royal palace of Albana, Roland made a promise to Robin. When Waesung is completed and officially launched, it will be when he and she will be unveiled to the world. Now Roland has announced his return to the world. Naturally, it was Robin's turn. 20 years of ups and downs without seeing the light of day, living like a mouse in a dark place where no light can be seen, it is time for such a life to end. Thereafter, a bright future awaits Robin. No one can arbitrarily take away. This is Roland's promise to her. It was the first time, received attention under the sun, and Robin took a deep breath of nervousness. After a while, her clenched fists loosened, the tense heartstrings slowed down, and the whole person returned to the same calm and tranquility as before. The feeling of being in the sun, it's so good. Robin thought to himself, a wonderful arc on his face involuntarily. Miss Robin, let's make an announcement. Nami outside the camera reminded in a low voice. Robin nodded slightly. First of all, congratulations to the above 235 contestants who passed the first round of the knockout. I am Nicole Robin, and I am also the host of the second round of the next conference. Next, I will tell you about the second round of the conference, Trial of Survival, the rules of PUBG. Before that, please advance to the second round of the contestants on the battle arena of their respective venues. Robin spoke with no stage fright. Pirate noble son Cavendish was the first to respond. Shizikuong towards the battle arena, first win this first, and then take the championship of the conference. Cavendish, who was fascinated by first, is now fighting for the first place in the ring. It's just, I'm number one. A vigorous shout passed over Cavendish's head. One step ahead of him, he landed on the ring. Cavendish, who was once again the second child, was on all fours again. After a moment of loss, Cavendish looked up and looked at Luffy, the straw hat in front of him. His eyes were filled with anger. You bastard, straw hat boy, I'll cut you first. Cavendish thought to himself. Straw Hat Luffy and Cavendish, more than 100 qualifiers in this area all entered the ring one after another. Just to give Mr. Roland face, you can't escape the second round, Straw Hat Boy. Also eyeing Straw Hat Luffy is Hapo Navy's Chinjao. Nicole Robin, the only survivor of O'Hara 20 years ago, the only existence in the world today who can interpret historical texts. There's really one more thing to grab now, he. The candy minister Perospero said with a gloomy smile. But the next second, the smile on Perospero's face disappeared. Cough cough cough, as if there was an invisible pressure falling on him alone, bending his waist. In the end, he was pressed all over the ring. Brother Peros, what's wrong with you? Charlotte family ministers on the side screamed in surprise. Sabo, Usopp, it's up to you now. The pale black-haired swordsman Lucio looked at Sabo and the others. In the first round of the just concluded conference, not all of the more than 20 members of the Waesung assault team made the cut. The black-haired swordsman Lucio had already met the promotion conditions, but he was targeted by the Emperor's cadres in the melee and was helpless. Naturally, the chance to advance is lost. At this point, even if the organizer of the conference is his own family, there will be no favoritism. In the Waesung team, it is not enough for the two-handed skill to finally successfully advance to the second round. Shichibukai Crocodile, Straw Hat Luffy, Dragon King Sabo, Three Swords Zoro, Long Nose Usopp, Daz Bones, Shemale Bentham and Bins 8. Idiot Green Algae Head, don't get lost. Sanji, who had a temporary cast on his right foot, reminded him. You who sit on the bench have no right to worry about me, and in such a ring, who would get lost? Zoro growled and retorted. When all the promotions gathered at the Taiku venue took the stage, the battle arena shook slightly, and then rose into the sky again. Fly high into the sky amid the exclamations of the people. The promoted players from the other 9 major venues also entered the ring one after another. Swamp venue. Nicole Robin, that woman actually appeared. Do you think you can sit back and relax by staying by the so-called hero's side? It's so naive, since you dare to appear in front of us so struttingly, let's take it back together. Dressed or gorgeous, or sloppy, or like aristocrats, or like pirates, the government killers set off a cold arc at the corners of their mouths. I like a little girl who can interpret historical texts. Atmospheric distortion somewhere in the arena of the swamp venue. A rickety old man appeared out of thin air in the place that was originally empty. Whoosh, whoosh, all 235 contestants who passed the first round of knockout of the conference took their place. One after another arenas rose into the sky. There are more than 100 people from the Taiku venue in the arena. There are only a few 3 people. Example, the fancy dancer and the plague queen in the arena of the Sha Dao venue, and the third person who shares the stage with the 2 monsters for some reason, the big pirate clown Buggy. Chapter 412 Buggy wants to cry without tears. PUBG Mobile kicks off. Open black lens bracket 2/4 close black lens bracket. Who am I and where do I come from and where do I go? Like a senior philosopher, questioning his own soul. After a while, he found the answer. I'm Buggy and I'm on my way to Yellow Springs Hell. It was so. Buggy's right fist hit the palm of his left hand lightly, and he looked astonished. Bah! Is this the time to be so calm? I am going to die. I'm really going to die now. Buggy's face was calm and composed. However, in fact, this was only because his body was petrified and stiff due to excessive panic, and he couldn't move. There were already stormy waves in his heart, beating at his weak and helpless heart. He meows. The glorious life of this uncle is coming to an end. Don't. I haven't found Captain John's treasure. Even if I die, please let me die on the treasure pile. Blame those idiots. This uncle is really a hopelessly good captain. He even believed in the evil of those idiots again, thinking of the series of sleazy operations that made him go to no return not long ago. Buggy is a burst of tears. Especially now. On the huge flying arena, including him, there are only 3 people. But Buggy would rather go to a more crowded ring. This is not a place where ordinary people like him can stay. The 2 on the opposite side are monsters. One is the 3rd in command of the 4 Emperors and 100 Beasts pirates, the Queen of Plague. The other is the top of the first round of the conference. With his own power, he destroyed more than 1,000 strong men in an instant, and at the same time destroyed the monsters among the monsters in the entire Sha Island venue. He who is on the same stage with these 2 monsters is simply a lamb to be slaughtered. Hey, that red nose over there. Just when Buggy's spirit was tense to the extreme, the plague queen on the left suddenly spoke up. A word, Buggy held her breath in fright, only to feel that her brain was shaking with fear. What's the matter with you? Buggy didn't even look at Queen. Hey, the guy with the red nose, I feel you are a little familiar from the beginning, have we met before? The pandemic queen asked with great interest. No, I don't know you at all. Buggy mechanically shook his head, and decisively came a set of 3 denials. Wow, you don't even know me, or don't care, plus I have a little impression, you are really not an ordinary person, Red Nose. The pandemic queen nodded in approval. Gah, ha. Buggy was dumbfounded. Hey, Red Nose, do you want to get along? If there are only 2 places in each arena later, let's send this bastard to the Sea Kings together. The Plague Queen suggested. Looking at the man in the dance costume on the same stage, his eyes were full of evil and murderous intent. After all, not long ago, he was not very. If it weren't for his own strength, I'm afraid he would have been eliminated like other people on the island. As the third in command of the dignified beasts, if he is out of the game like this, he will lose a lot of face. If Kaido finds out, the location of his disaster will probably not be guaranteed. However, even though she was extremely angry, the queen of the epidemic did not lose her mind. Intuition told him that this guy who jumped out of nowhere was an incredible monster. Even he didn't have the confidence to eat it. Why Queen wants to unite with Buggy, who is on the same stage. Buggy is indifferent to Queen's proposed alliance. The man in the dance costume on the other side smiled sinisterly, revealing white teeth. Ling's Queen's inner warning loomed, her eyelids jumped wildly, and she shrank her neck cowardly. Battle Arena continued to lift off to the meeting point at an altitude of 1,000 meters. The promotion that Queen had guessed did not happen. Amidst the roars and vibrations, 10 battle arenas of different sizes and shapes fit each other and finally converge into a whole. So that's the case, the next step is a direct face-to-face killing battle. Whoever can stand at the end is the winner will get the strongest fruit ability on the road to Overlord. In this case, the arena is too small. That's right, at least one island must be prepared so that we can play to the fullest. The advanced contestants in the high-altitude arena spoke one after another, with high self-confidence. Boom rumble, at this moment, a thunderous rumbling sound suddenly sounded from the clouds in the sky. Next moment, under the staring eyes of countless people, a huge island slowly descended from the clouds. Finally panned to just below the battle arena. There are really islands. It's amazing, this island. There are volcanoes, here are deserts, and forests and grasslands. Look over there, what a big orangutan, is that King Kong? Advanced players walked to the edge of the ring one after another, looking at the island below from top to bottom, exclaiming constantly. Just when the players were amazed at the magnificence of the second round of the venue, Robin appeared on the screen that floated up with the island. I believe that all the players have seen it. This island is the venue for the second round of the next conference, Survival Trial, PUBG. Robin emphasized word by word. Jedi. Survive. Gudong. Usopp swallowed. That sounds interesting. Straw Hat Luffy looked expectant. Next, everyone in the arena will randomly land on the edges of the island. All you have to do is going to the center. What is waiting for you in the center of the island is the final prize of this conference. In addition, there are some glowing treasures hidden in this venue. You can pick up what you want, and the others. Finally, what I want to remind you is that besides you, this island also hides many traps and predators, please be careful. With a professional smile on his face, Robin told everyone about some precautions for the PUBG trial. Needless to say, let's get started. Someone urged. If you want me to say, why bother, isn't this the central government, the Overlord fruit is mine. Another anxious pirate jumped directly from the ring. Then descended at an unimaginable speed. Hey, how could this wait stop soon? The pirate desperately wanted to use the stunt, stepping on the left foot and taking off with the right foot, but it couldn't stop the speed of falling. Ultimately, only a squeak could be heard. The pirate falling with 100 times the acceleration of gravity fell into a pool of meat sauce. Everyone else who watched this strange scene couldn't help gasping for air. With the lessons learned, other people dare not try again. However, how are you going to send us to various regions? Someone asked a question. Then, the second round of the conference, start. Robin announced calmly. Kakaka, next second. There were large cracks crisscrossing the battle arena without warning. In the terrified shouts of the advanced players, the huge battle arena split. This time, instead of 10 pieces of 10, it was divided into hundreds of pieces. In the sky, there was a turbulent rocky rain, and the advanced players who were holding on to the fragments of the ring were smashed to various places on the island of the venue. The second round of survival trials of the Martial Arts Conference, the pirate version of PUBG, officially begins. Chapter 413. Qinzhao. Garp's grandson is a fool. 3/4. This is a ruined ancient ruin. As far as the eye can see, it is full of broken walls. A moment. There was a sudden gust of wind in the sky. At the same time, someone screamed. Bang, with a loud noise. Ring fragments, wearing a straw hat, Luffy, smashed into the ancient ruins on the edge of the island in the second round of the final, splashing a cloud of smoke. It hurts. It doesn't hurt because I'm a rubber guy. Straw Hat Luffy opened his arms and shouted proudly, full of energy. Sniff, Straw Hat Luffy's nostrils fluttered, as if smelling something, his eyes suddenly turned into shining stars. His stomach made a thunderous rumbling sound. Good smell, over there. Straw Hat Luffy pinpointed the source of the aroma of the barbecue with a nose that was brighter than a dog, and ran away. Around the 7 or 8, and after the bend, the front is suddenly bright. A huge lake sparkled in the sun. Sunlight, flowers and birds, grass. There is peace and tranquility everywhere. On the edge of the clear lake, big bones and flesh with a strong fragrance are stacked into a hill. A lot of meat. Straw Hat Luffy screamed in surprise, drooling 3,000 feet. Without any hesitation, he rushed forward and began to feast on it. While the 5-meter-high Roshan was a layer shorter than the Straw Hat Luffy who was immersed in the delicious barbecue. What Luffy didn't notice was that the calm lake water rippled in circles as he arrived. Not far away, something moved behind the hill that was nearly 100 meters high. The Straw Hat Boy, Aboriginal, at the island venue shows up. A roar full of anger suddenly sounded. Straw Hat Luffy turned his head and looked at the old man with a furious beard not far behind him with a puzzled expression. The movements of the hands and mouth did not slow down at all. Grandpa, do you want to eat barbecue too? Luffy asked vaguely. Taking advantage of the time to speak, a few large pieces of meat were eaten. Apparently trying to eat more before the old man gets a piece of the pie. Barbecue, I can't wait to eat you, Straw Hat Boy, finally let me find a chance, God is still on my side. Qinzhao, the pillar of Hapo Navy, hates the opening. Ah. Hear the words. Straw Hat Luffy's eyes widened. Are you an ogre? Luffy asked in surprise. The speed of eating meat still slowed down slightly. Qinzhao. Garp's grandson must not be a fool. He has already shown such a strong killing intent, and he still eats it. But, even if he is a fool, you are Garp's grandson. Today, I will not have the slightest mercy. Garp, just keep your eyes open and watch how I beat your grandson into a grandson. Qinzhao roared angrily and clapped his hands sharply. The terrifying momentum of boom steamed out, causing his long beard and white beard to stand upside down. 8-chong fist. Qinzhao's knees were slightly bent, and his body suddenly flew into the sky. The flat head covered with armament hockey charged straight at Luffy, the Straw Hat below. Ah, oh. Straw Hat Luffy exclaimed, rolled his hands, wrapped a pile of barbecue meat, and quickly retreated. Boom, with a loud noise. The calm by the lake was broken. There were ravines in the ground. It's inexplicable, but if you want to fight, come on. Straw Hat Luffy grinned widely, suffocating the dozens of pieces of barbecued meat in his arms, burping contentedly. I am full, I've got more energy now, armament. Straw Hat Luffy's right arm is covered with a powerful armament. Threw out a punch without showing weakness, and met Qinzhao's head, which once again jumped and fell. Just as Qinzhao's head and Luffy's armament are about to collide, the abrupt change between the fields occurs. The calm surface of the lake suddenly burst into violent waves. Several huge octopus tentacles burst out of the water, wrapped around Qinzhao's right foot, and swept the angry Qinzhao into the lake. Oh, oh, oh. Straw Hat Luffy screamed again and again. Relying on calm observation, Haki to escape the attack of the octopus tentacles, leaped to the side of the hill. What the hell is that? Looking at the octopus tentacles who gave up and returned to the lake, Luffy's face was full of lingering fears. Next second, the expression on Luffy's face froze again. His observation Haki overlord sensed something massive behind the hill. What the hell is this? Looking at the huge palm falling with a large shadow, Luffy did not hesitate to enter the second gear. The speed increased by a notch, and he avoided it dangerously. Boom! Accompanied by a loud bang. The top of the hill was cracked by the blow of the huge palm. At this point that Straw Hat Luffy finally saw the body of that huge creature. It was a blue-backed tens of meters high, the Gorilla King. Good risk. Straw Hat Luffy had lingering fears on his face. Don't wait for him to land. The tentacles of the giant octopus king in the lake burst out of the water again, wrapping around Luffy's body with lightning speed. Evasion is too late. Just then. Fire fist. The sky suddenly burst into flames. The huge flame fist traversed the sky and the earth, swallowing the tentacles of the octopus king in an instant. And continued to spread to the lake. A large amount of scalding hot steam is emitted. Ace. Looking at the familiar scene, Straw Hat Luffy suddenly exclaimed in surprise. Luffy, it's dangerous here, let's get out of here first. Ace said solemnly. Chapter 414 The Four Emperors, 100 Beasts and Big Mom are coming. Open black lens bracket 4/4 close black lens bracket. Oh, oh, oh. What the hell is that? What kind of monster is that? Snake this big is unheard of. Record it. Monster Island. That's a monster island. Jedi survival. So that's the real meaning of this second round. Those contestants will not only face each other's opponents, but also those terrifying beasts on the island. Two watching islands, the live broadcast plaza watched the terrifying scenes on the screen, and they all screamed in horror. Fuck, this is too scary. That's not a place for people to stay at all. Fortunately, I am not in an emergency. Otherwise, it will definitely die. The contestants who failed to advance in the ring venue shouted with joy, and there was no more unwillingness or loss in their hearts. As for those people who were still happy for the promotion of the captain and buddy, there was no smile on his face at this moment. Captain Luo, Beppo, be careful. Shaki, Pekin and the others of the Heart Pirates were crying, their hearts tense to the extreme. Captain Buggy. It's over, it's over, it's over. Captain Buggy is really going to die now. The pirates of Buggy are also like their wives in mourning. Is no hope for Captain Buggy's survival. If Buggy knew what his subordinates were thinking at the moment, he would definitely vomit 3 liters of blood. Captain Buggy is gone, let's think about how to get back to East Blue. Trainer Moji spoke. Then let me, the Chief of Staff, be the acting captain. Juggling Chief of Staff Kabaji sighed. Kabaji, you bastard really wanted to usurp the throne, so you kept pushing Captain Buggy to compete. Trainer Moji yelled. What are you talking about, you are all the same. Ooh. Buggy, who was in the noise of Leech's wail, the lion, was suddenly quiet. I see, Leech, you want to remind us that Captain Buggy isn't dead yet. Moji was taken aback. Yeah, Captain Buggy is still alive and kicking, how could we break up so soon? Those of us are not as good as a lion in Leech. If you don't act as the captain, give it to Leech. Everyone spoke up. Lion Leech. I'm just wondering when I can have dinner balls. Segu venue. Even the pirates of the 4 emperors, watching the terrifying scenes on the big screen, couldn't help but widen their terrified eyes. Where did that beast come from? It's too scary. Those monsters are even stronger than those with power. With one palm, a mountain will collapse. It is definitely a Beast King level existence. The beasts of the beasts screamed in shock. Even Peggy Wan, who was as strong as one of the 6 sons of the Vali, couldn't help holding his breath at this moment. I secretly sweated for my old sister and Sister Maria. The faces of the thieves on the other side were extremely ugly. Because just now, they saw with their own eyes on the big screen that a powerful cadre of their own was swallowed up by a mysterious monster in the swamp, and he was already dead without a whole corpse. In addition to the thousands of beasts and pirates, Luo Lin and his party, Reiju from Germa 66, and others have not left. The terrifying scene of the PUBG arena broadcast on the screen also deeply shocked everyone except Luo Lin. "I'll be darling, this is really too scary. Where did you find so many monsters?" Candle 3 Galtino continued to pat his heart, secretly rejoicing. Roland smiled silently. For the construction of the martial arts venue, Luo Lin only made some suggestions and then handed it over to Golden Lion Shiki. Now the various traps on that island were designed by Shiki with great effort. And those, the beasts who are entrenched on one side. Some of them are plant mutant beasts that Shiki has been studying for 20 years. There are also some, such as the blueback that originally attacked Straw Hat Luffy. Ape King is from Ruth Kana Island, located near Maiden Island in the Windless Belt. The original story Straw Hat Luffy practiced hockey, Beast Island. Not only the power does not lose the 4th gear Luffy Great Ape King gun, the blueback, Ape King. The top 10 Beastmasters on that island were all arranged by Shikita all over the venue. This created the feast of Jedi Survival. Jia ha 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 ha, the little devils of the new era, enjoy the Jedi trial prepared by this uncle for you. Golden Lion Shiki, who was watching the battle from high above, laughed proudly. Fortunately, Luffy, they are all fine now. The black-haired swordsman Lucio also had lingering fears on his face. Look, that idiot green algae head, sure enough, got lost again. Lips, actually cared more about each other than anyone else, pouted. Zoro is really in trouble. Fishman Youth Nobel frowned. There's no way around it. Zoro's luck is too bad, and by coincidence, he ended up in the labyrinth. The crowd was silent. That's a maze that ordinary people can't get out of. Perhaps. Labyrinth and Liu Kai, maybe it just came out after the negative. A Wei Sung warrior optimistically guessed. Everyone. At this moment. The sky is about 20 nautical miles away from Wei Sung Fortress. A huge dragon swept across the sky, with an amazing speed, making the atmosphere roar constantly. Not far behind the huge dragon, there was a toothless pterosaur surrounded by flames. The pterosaur spread its wings, bringing a gust of wind and pushing his body speed soaring, catching up with the leader of the dragon in front. Kaido, the news from the idiot queen has come. Fire Calamity reported. Oh, what's going on over there right now? My sons and daughters should have gotten the Captain Rock's fruit, right? The 4 emperors Lot Linlin laughed confidently and proudly. No, the official battle over the crushed fruit has only just begun, but we'll tell Kaido and the 2 of them everything they know about the current situation from Queen and the others. Kaido, since that smashed fruit is now at the venue, I think we can go there first to get it. As for the attack on Wei Sung, we can put it aside for a while. Fire Calamity suggested. Both Kaido of the Beasts and Lot Linlin were silent for a moment. Then they all nodded. Well, well, let's do it like this. Well, good idea. Kaido of the Beasts and Charlotte Linlin are on the same page. Call. Hearing this, Yan Zonjin let out a long sigh of relief. Wei Sung, which has 2 marine heroes and the former admiral and others, is really stressful. Chapter 415 Akainu, face slapping past. Buster call starts. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. A certain sea area about 20 nautical miles south of Wei Sung City. 17 Marine War class warships are like prehistoric beasts, standing quietly on the sea. The commander-in-chief meeting room in the center of the warship. Admiral Akainu, who was in charge of this operation, and the vice admirals from the headquarters were silent like petrified wood carvings. The desk in front of them was filled with all kinds of messy reports. Except for the original hero news and Garp, Crane's report. Move the elite vice admiral of the headquarters was the battle of the world's greatest swordsman after that. Immediately after that, there are various pieces of information since the opening of the martial arts conference, including the dark horses that appeared one after another in the conference, the fierce war at the Taiku venue, the high-profile appearance of Nico Robin, the son of the devil, and the second round of the conference, etc. Akainu, how long do we have to wait? Headquarters Hawk Elite Vice Admiral Doberman frowned, breaking the dead silence in the command room. There's also the question of whether that hero is still our partner. Vice Admiral Onagumo knocked on the table. Onagumo, what do you mean? The hero Mr. Roland is of course our partner. Mr. Garp and Mrs. He, they have all proved it with practical actions, and the Battle of Chinfin Island, Mr. Roland saved a lot of money. The lives of 100 sailors. He is a worthy marine hero. Zanjiao Bastiu suddenly stood up and stared at Vice Admiral Onagumo, who was questioning him with dissatisfaction. The atmosphere in the conference room fell into a stagnation again. Enough, sit down first, Bastius. Admiral Akainu stopped drinking. Onagumo's concerns are not entirely unfounded. Vice Admiral Stoloberg, whose head is 1 meter long, stroked his long beard. It's just your guesses now. Vice Admiral Dalmesia opening. We really don't have full proof yet, and even that guess is too ridiculous, but the ability to make the island float to the sky, there will be no other people. Vice Admiral Onagumo's faint path. The first jailbreaker of Impel Down in the last era, the legendary flying pirate, is the Golden Lion Shiki really hiding in that city? Senior, does the hero Roland really cooperate with the pirates? Perplexed mouth of Vice Admiral Yamakaji, who is smiling all day. And the devil's son Nico Robin, the only survivor of O'Hara 20 years ago, who appeared in front of the world today so struttingly, I don't need to say who is behind it. Vice Admiral Stoloberg, who had participated in the O'Hara Buster Call, opened a slit in his squinted eyes and looked at the first Admiral Akainu. 20 years ago, Buster Call against O'Hara. Admiral Akainu is the real main force. In order to cut the weeds and eradicate the roots, it is indeed guaranteed that no scholars will escape. Akainu even punched the civilian boat, burning thousands of civilians on board. The cruelty of the means also aroused great repercussions at the time. Greatly damaged Marine's prestige in the hearts of civilians. At that time, there was even a veteran vice admiral in the Marine who advocated removing Akainu's vice admiral position and accepting a military court trial. However, even if it has achieved this level and almost went to a military court, the news that there are still scholars who have successfully escaped has finally come. For Admiral Akainu, this is simply a slap in the face of Kai Guago. Admiral Kuzan used to be in charge of everything about Nico Robin, the son of the devil. Admiral Akainu also never asked. However, this time, since I have encountered it, there is no reason to let it go. Admiral Akainu makes a fist. The atmosphere in the conference room fell into a dead silence. Akainu Admiral, Vice Admiral. An intelligence navy pushed the door anxiously and entered. Appeared. The 4 Emperors Lot Linlin and 4 Emperors Kaido of the beasts who left from Beiluo Island have appeared. It's almost approaching the city. The intelligence marine shouted and reported. Wow. The dead silence in the conference room was instantly on the side. Admiral Akainu, who was sitting at the top, suddenly stood up. It's finally here, the order goes on, Buster Call can be ready. Admiral Akainu grinned Isho. The marine behemoth battleships, who had been silent for more than 10 hours, set sail. At the same time, Swire Venue Coast. Sanji, Candle 3 Garno, Lucio and other team members who failed to advance boarded the returning ship. Ready to go back to the city for examination and treatment. Mr. Roland, Miss Ai Yin, come up quickly too. The black-haired swordsman Lucio greeted. Luo Lin didn't seem to hear the greeting from the young disciple and grandson. Vivi narrowed his eyes, staring silently towards the east. What's the matter, Mr. Rollins? Ai Yin, who was wearing a blood-stained bandage on his thigh, asked inexplicably. It's finally here. If you don't come, I'll think you've escaped back to the New World. Roland's mouth grinned. What's coming? Ai Yin tilted her head in confusion. Little girl Ai Yin, grab me. Roland stretched out his right hand. Ah. Ain was stunned. Forget it, I'll do it myself. Luo Lin stretched out his big hand, and in the tender voice of the little girl Ai Yin, he wrapped his arms around her waist. Roland first. Lucio, who witnessed this scene, suddenly widened his eyes. Next second. Under his wide-eyed gaze, Luo Lin and Ai Yin disappeared without a trace in an instant. Lucio, what's wrong with them? Someone on the boat asked inexplicably. Go. Lucio looked shocked. Also shocking were Reiju and others from Germa 66 not far away. Hey, what about that man? It disappeared all of a sudden. What the hell is going on? Come on, what speed is that? Red, blue, and green killed mad and cried out. Is that the true power of the legendary hero? Pink-haired Reiju took a deep breath and shook his head. Father, if we miss this opportunity, we really can only go to that city. Reiju looked at Judge. If you want to visit the cooperation, of course, it will be more sincere to go to that city in person. Judge opened his mouth, since it was impossible to admit the embarrassing fact that he was overwhelmed by the heroic aura before. Let's go too. Boom rumbling, just as Judge's voice fell, a thunderous rumbling sound suddenly sounded in the eastern horizon. A large black cloud spread like a night. At the same time, there were two full of hockey's laughter. Ma. Hey. 4 Emperors Lot Linlin and 4 Emperors Kaido of the Beasts, here we come. Chapter 416 The Searing Dragon's Breath Attacking Weisung Open Black Lens Bracket 2/4 Close Black Lens Bracket. With the second round of the martial arts tournament, the hidden monsters on the island of the PUBG arena were revealed. There was also an uproar in Wachung Square. PFF'd, ha, I really don't know where that fellow Roland got so many monsters. Each of them can fight me a few times. Marine legend Vice Admiral Garp laughed. Everyone who was about to take over the conversation. Feelings, are you bragging about yourself? Why didn't you realize that Mr. Garp is so good at pretending? It's because he was beaten by the boss today. It's because of the loss of face. All the veterans nodded. Unanimously decided to change the subject and not give Garp a chance to pretend. Speaking of which, Shaki's bastard is so cruel, those new age brats are probably going to suffer. Old man Mu Lien shook his head and subconsciously sighed. Yeah, that's right, the old boy didn't lose the chain this time, and he has indeed completed the task given by the boss. Veteran Colin agreed. When the words are over. Both Mulian and Colin were stunned. Also stunned were all the people nearby, including Vice Admiral Momonga of the headquarters, Colonel Smoker, etc. In any naval soldier. The name Shiki. Smoker frowned, feeling inexplicably familiar. Mr. Smoker, what's wrong with the name? Sergeant Tashigi was puzzled. Dad, Uncle Colin and the old boy Shiki they said was. Headquarters Vice Admiral Momonga looked at his father, as if thinking of something, his small eyes suddenly widened. Clap, answered him with a slap from Alfred. Don't think about it, don't say anything, you kid didn't hear anything before. Alfred gave Momonga a stern look. Zephyr. Other side, Garp looked at Zephyr beside him. In fact, there is no need for others to say more. Garp, Suru and Marshal Sengoku were discussed in this headquarters as early as the Sky Island going incident broke out. And a surprising conjecture was drawn from it. The real implementer of the huge project of demolition of Sky Island is not their old friend, but someone else. Today. Come to Wachung. Garp once again witnessed the emergence of the giant floating arena and the Jedi island that is now floating at a height of 1,000 meters. He once fought with a bastard who was constantly throwing an island. Garp, who had dealt with him countless times, how could he not have guessed that he just kept seeing it without saying it, and was ready to talk about it after today? It's just that some idiots are slipping their tongues right now. Then Garp can't pretend he didn't hear it. Facing Garp's questioning eyes, Zephyr just squinted at Garp and said nothing. Okay, let's continue to watch the game and watch the game now. A veteran soldier came out with a smile on his face to smooth things out. Yeah, Garp bro, I'm following the Hapo Navy. Chinjiao. That old guy Chinjiao of the cone, I remember it seems to be one of Mr. Garp's old rivals. It won't die if it's swallowed by the octopus monster, sure enough. Veterans, with your words, I will change the subject. PFF'd haha. Garp also took advantage of the topic and laughed a few times. That guy Chinjiao, of course, is not a simple thing, he is my opponent after all. I think back then, I smashed 8 mountains with one face, and after finishing my training, I punched his proud pointed head. It's been beaten into the flat head it is now. Garp smiled proudly. All the veterans, this comparison is really round, and there is really no room for refutation. That guy Chinjiao probably still hates me, that's why he keeps chasing Luffy, ha 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 ha. Garp laughed to himself. Everyone. Your grandson is being hunted down by the enemy because of you, but you can still laugh. Shoo, is when the veterans are silent. Everyone just felt a sudden daze in front of their eyes. Next second. Somewhere in the open space rippling like water waves. Roland's figure appeared out of thin air. Was the little girl Yin who was hanging tightly on Luo Lin like an octopus. Boss Roland. Boss, you are back. As expected of the boss Luo Lin, he was really handsome before. Seeing Luo Lin's return, all the veterans laughed happily. Okay. Roland waved his hand and walked straight towards Garp with the octopus on him. PFF ha ha ha, Luo Lin, what kind of look do you have? It's very unique. Looking at the long-legged girl hanging on Roland's body, Garp couldn't help laughing again. Zephyr on the side was also calm. Yin, what are you doing? Don't come down quickly. Zephyr reprimanded. Zephyr, teacher. Hearing Zephyr's voice, the panic on Ain's face, who had experienced long-distance space movement for the first time, subsided a little. Lifting up the small face buried deep in Luo Lin's bare chamber, he felt the strange gazes from around him. The little girl Yin was stunned for a while, and then came back to her senses after a while. A piece of crimson suddenly flooded her pretty face, red from forehead to ear root. Sorry, Mr. Rollins. Yin bowed his head to apologize, not daring to raise his head at all. Don't worry about it. Roland said casually. PFF'd, ha ha ha, girl Yin, this guy won't mind, there is a little girl clinging to him, he can't tell how happy he is. Garp dismantling the platform. For Garp's comfort, the crimson on Ain's face did not subside, but spread further to the snow-white neck. A small heart is like a deer, thumping and beating non-stop. Oh, Roland, look over there, Suru is looking at you now. Garp gleefully pointed in the direction of the headquarters building. The black lines on Roland's forehead became denser. But now is not the time for bickering with Garp. Kid Kaido and that gluttony Linlin is here. Roland spoke calmly. Gah, ha. Garp's laughter came to an abrupt end. Yin's rapid heartbeat like a fawn stopped for a moment, and a pair of beautiful eyes stared at the boss. Zephyr, Mu Lien, etc. Veterans and recruits also had expressions of seriousness or horror on their faces. Boom rumble, a loud bang came from the eastern horizon. Dark clouds spread like night. That's because of the power of the giant dragon. At the same time, it is also because of the thundercloud control of Zeus. Hey. The thunderous laughter resounded through the sky. The dark sky suddenly lit up with a cross-star-like blazing light. That's Dragon's breath. Next moment, under the horrified gaze of the people, a blazing light blazed out from that spot in the sky, headed straight to Wei Sung with devastating force. Chapter 417 Shenlong Kaido. I'm going to hit too. Open black lens bracket 3/4 close black lens bracket. A pitch-black thundercloud covered the sky like night. From far to near, it quickly covered the entire sky. Flickering electric lights appeared together with the rumbling thunder. At the same time, there were two loud laughter full of tyranny and murderous intent. What's the matter? What happened again? Why is this atmosphere so depressing? I feel like I'm out of breath. The reporters and the audience on the two major islands raised their heads in unison, with expressions of astonishment on their faces. North Blue thieves in the ring venue of the first round of the conference also changed their color. Intuition told them that there was a terrifying, big murderer, hidden in that thick cloud. After a while, the fierce monster behind the thick black cloud finally appeared. It was a hideous dragon head. It is exactly the same as the dragon recorded in ancient Eastern mythology. So, heaven and earth are all silent. What followed was an uproar. Captain Apu, what the hell is that? Ah! The pirates on the broadcast all screamed in horror. Is that a dragon? Anger freezes on the face of Supernova Apu, who wakes up from a coma. Looking at the ferocious dragon head, my whole body is occupied by horrified emotions. Dragon. It turns out to be a dragon. Does the dragon in myth and legend really exist? It's unbelievable. Swire Venue Coast. Before they could return to Wei Sung, Candle 3 Galtino and other soldiers in Wei Sung shouted in shock. Not right. Fishman Young Nobel snorted. That's not the mythical dragon. His true identity is 4, Emperor, 100, Beast, Kai, and more. The black-haired swordsman Lucio forcibly endured the fear and trembling, and revealed the identity of the dragon word by word. Ha ha. Nani. Judge, Reiju and others from nearby Germa 66 were all shocked. Oh. Of the island of the Taiku venue, there was a sound of cheers like a tsunami of mountains and tsunamis. The excited cry of the beasts and Big Mom pirates on the island. It's finally here. Captain Kaido. Mr. Kaido, kill them all. Captain Kaido is here, it's time for us to fight back. Peggy Wan and other beast pirates let out a roar of excitement and pride. That gigantic dragon head is Kaido of the beasts. Kaido is here, so that means Mommy is here too. Okay, the two emperors of the sea are here, who can compete on the sea. The humiliation we suffered before will be doubled back for them. The crowd of thieves also shouted excitedly. The second round of the conference Jedi venue. Ace, is that a dragon? It's amazing. The youth in the Vitality straw hat widened his amazed eyes and exclaimed. That's Kaido of the beasts, Luffy. Ace took a deep breath, the look on his face was unprecedentedly solemn. 4 Emperors Kaido of the beasts dad, that. Kaido is actually a dragon. The long-nosed Usopp was horrified and lost his voice. Ah, Zone Dragon Fruit mythical dragon fruit ability. Usopp, who has dealt with the beasts more than once, has a solemn face. It's finally here, Kaido of the beasts. Shichibukai Crocodile grinned with an arc. So far, you're still pretending, Stinky Crocodile. Not far away, Perospero, the eldest son of the thief group, had a smug smile on his face. Kaido is here you are finished. Fishman Sasaki grinned Isho, his face full of cruelty. Who knows, we have the strongest mentor here. Sabo smiled confidently. It's not certain who will kill the deer. Maybe today is the day when the beasts and the ant are removed from their names, ha 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 ha. Crocodile laughed. What did you say? It's really looking for death. Boom. Wei Sung Plaza. That's 4 Emperors Kaido of the beasts. Looking at the ferocious dragon head in the sky, the young sailors such as Smoker couldn't help but change their color. Even the body trembled involuntarily because of the unstoppable fear. The four emperors, Kaido of the beasts, are so majestic. The old man Mu Lien narrowed his eyes. Vivi. Once an intern of the Rocks Pirates, now he has become the Emperor of the Sea. It really makes him a climate. Veteran Colin groaned. Sure enough, what the boss said at the beginning was right, he should have been strangled in the cradle in advance, but it's a pity. Former Vice Admiral Alfred shook his head regretfully. Finish him here today. The former Admiral Zephyr straightened his back, and a piece of scorching steam steamed from the giant's smashing mechanical arm, full of fighting spirit. PFF ha ha ha, Zephyr, that Kaido bastard, leave it to me to deal with it. Garp laughed. Garp, what do you mean to underestimate me? Zephyr is dissatisfied. How come? Garp shook his head seriously. Garp, Zephyr, Kaido, that kid is still me. After all, I was the one who let him run away 36 years ago. Roland spoke calmly. Then leave it to you. Zephyr responded decisively. Alas. Garp pouted. When he said it earlier, Zephyr was so talkative. This is discriminatory treatment, Garp strongly protested. Come on, let's do it, Kaido kid for you, then there's one more. That, Gluttony Linlin, leave it to me too. Before Garp could speak, Roland smiled again. Garp was stunned. Everyone nearby who heard Luo Lin's words was stunned at the same time. Extreme shock appeared on his face. Even the veterans who trusted Roland the most were a little worried at this moment. After all, those are two sea emperors. Fighting against two four emperors at the same time is really difficult, it's just chaotic. Can you do it? Can't do it, don't hold on. Garp worried. Hee hee. Roland hee hee isho. Boss, don't talk about it, that Kaido kid's attack is coming. Kaido several kilometers away, shouted loudly. The scorching dragon breath of boom traverses thousands of meters and arrives in an instant. At the same time, Roland on the square took one step at a time. The reappearance is already in front of that terrifying flame breath. Roland's right hand came out calmly. Smash. Chapter 418 Kaido and Big Mom are overwhelmed, 4 quarters. Well, Kaido, use your moves to give those bastards some color. From the thick thundercloud came the muffled voice of the fourth Emperor Lot Linlin. That's exactly what it means. 4 Emperors Kaido of the Beast set off a hideous smile. Longko is wide open. A blazing light like lava emerged from the depths of his throat. After a while, under the stunned gaze of countless people, Kaido's mouth, the flame beam with extreme high temperature and high heat traverses the sky for thousands of meters, and falls straight to Waesung Fortress. It was the searing breath from the dragon. It can easily open mountains and overturn the sea. Nature can also turn a splendid city into a sea of fire, heading for destruction. Of course. The premise of this is that the scorching dragon breath can fall into the city. The grandstand of Waesung headquarters building. One of the sea emperors, Kaido of the Beasts, the little monster from decades ago has fully grown up. Rayleigh opened his mouth, and the old face shook. Kaido of the Beasts, the strongest creature in the sea, land and air, his base seems to be Wano Kuni, the country of Odin. Brook, South Quiet Road. So Crocus, Fishman Samble, and Rayleigh were all silent. Even if there is no solid news, they can probably guess that their partner, the general of Wano Kuni, Kazuki Odin, is afraid that something bad has happened. Okay, I'll talk about those things later, but for now, let's focus on the present. Shaki reminded. No worries at all, it must be fine. Nami nodded affirmatively. That was the attack of the Emperor of the Sea. Looking at the scorching dragon's breath that was constantly magnifying in his eyes, Colonel Tina's pretty face turned pale in an instant. The sense of danger of death haunted her. Don't be afraid, Tina, Dad is here. Guillaume patted Tina's shoulder with a relaxed expression. Yeah, with brother rolling, what if it's the four emperors? Teacher is the strongest. Vivi, Koala and other little girls are all resolute and have no doubts. At the same time. Roof of the headquarters building. The terrifying heat brewing in the huge mouth of the huge dragon's blood basin thousands of meters away. Supernova big stomach girl Jewelry Bonnie suddenly stood up. Even my favorite pizza on weekdays can't be eaten. It's going to die, it's going to die, this time it's really going to die, bastard dad, you. Think of a way. Bonnie yelled anxiously. Don't panic, Bonnie, there are guides. Shichibukai Tyrant Bear said in a gentle voice. The skill of speaking. The destructive dragon's breath from the four emperors Kaido of the beasts has come. The dazzling fire came along with the hot breath, causing the people in the square to unconsciously close their eyes and lose their voices in shock. But only for the next moment. Just when people subconsciously thought that Waesung was destroyed and turned into a sea of fire. The breath of the dragon that destroyed the sky and the earth suddenly solidified. Even the space with this side of the sky seems to be still. Why did the four emperors Kaido of the beasts attack stop? Everywhere in the venue, everyone who saw this strange scene couldn't help but scream in shock. Go on, kill them. Mr. Kaido's heat is invincible. First of all, turn that city into a sea of fiery ruins. Taiku venue, the excited shouts of the two emperor pirates are still there, echoing in the sky. Next second. But it was silent again. Through the big live broadcast screen in the sky, they saw the heat that solidified like a solid. At the same time, I saw the man who made the invisible flame dragon breath solidify. Mr. Roland, Mr. Roland. Let's go. On the coastal ship, the black-haired swordsman, Candle 3 and others put down their hearts and shouted excitedly. The people in Waesung were also caught in a sea of cheers. Look over there, yes. Our hero Luo Lin has shot. I'm ashamed, I actually blocked it with one hand. There are heroes, even the Emperor of the Sea has nothing to fear. The people in Wachung Square were all shouting and cheering excitedly. Looking at Luo Lin who blocked the dragon's heat with one hand in the sky, his eyes were full of excitement, fanaticism and worship. Under the gazes of countless people who were either shocked, excited, or puzzled. Over Waesung, the corner of Luo Lin's mouth, holding Kaido's breath with one hand, twitched. Crush. Roland's lips parted. Two words fell. The solidified scorching dragon's breath, and the solidified elongated space collapsed in an instant. In the dim sky, a thin line of light shone. Cut, break everything. With the extremely high temperature and high heat of the flame dragon breath, it was silently annihilated. In the end, it turned into finely fragmented sparks in the sky, falling down with the rustling of the wind. Become a beautiful scene in the dark sky. Witness this shocking scene with your own eyes. People's emotions were stagnant at first. Then it boils. Hey, stop kidding. That's Mr. Kaido's invincible heat. How could he be blocked by such an understatement? What kind of monster is that? Taiku venue, Pejuan and other beast pirates who were familiar with the power of heat breath widened their terrified eyes and cried out in shock. The members of the thief on the side also showed a ghostly expression. Even if I have never seen the power of the heat breath with my own eyes, it is the ultimate move of the four emperors Kaido of the beasts, the strongest creatures in the sea, land and air. That's the legendary hero. Just block Kaido's dragon breath, then what kind of power is it? It's too scary. At the Jedi venue, the Queen of the Plague, the third in command of the beasts, shook her head again and murmured unconsciously. On the other side, in the battle with Crocodile, Sabo, Fishman Sasaki, Perospero and others, the proud expressions on their faces converged. It was replaced by a deep sense of horror and panic. Are they really going to perish here today, as the sand crocodile said? Perospero and others unconsciously gave birth to this absurd idea. No, how could such a thing happen? everywhere in the waters of Weisung. Anyone who witnessed the previous scene was shocked. Even Kaido of the beasts and Lot Linlin, who were the emperors of the sea, are no exception. At this moment, the faces of the two sea emperors were full of shock and disbelief. Not because of the powerful strength that Roland showed. It's because of the ability to shatter even flames. That's the biggest purpose of their trip. It's the strongest ability of the ex-captain they've always dreamed of. Chapter 419 Big Mom and Kaido's son. Open black lens bracket 1/4 close black lens bracket. Kacha, and, boom rumble, the sky is dark, overcast and thunderous. An indescribable sense of oppression enveloped the sky. Unconsciously gave birth to great fear. Even as the Emperor's deputy, the second character of the beasts, the fire disaster. At this moment, the face under the mask was also full of horror. It wasn't because of the fact that Luo Lin, who had extinguished the scorching dragon's breath, was thousands of meters away. It was because of the sudden terrifying aura of the two sea emperors beside him. Kaido, the eyes under the blaze mask can't stop beating. Under the pressure of the chi-chi of the four emperors, he couldn't help but go backwards. Linlin, did you see that just now? Finally, the four emperors Kaido of the beasts are no longer silent. The huge dragon mouth opened and closed, and the sound was rumbling. Ah, why can't you see that power? That power that can split space. There's nothing wrong, that's definitely Captain Rock's ability. The four emperors Lot Linlin's face gradually became gloomy. It is 100 times gloomier than the dark clouds in the sky. The words contained endless anger and killing intent. Quote. Kaido, what the hell do you mean? That's the Rock's ability. Fire Calamity was shocked and asked anxiously. It's a big scam, ah. Teeth incisor. That bastard, how dare he set up a game to deceive us all, how can he be like? Boom, Kaido's voice has not yet fallen. A loud bang suddenly sounded on the island of the Jedi venue not far away. That was the sound of the central treasure mountain bursting. When everyone's attention was drawn to the coming sea emperors. Someone at the venue has already broken through the many obstacles on the island and approached the most central treasure of the Overlord. When realizing this amazing fact, whether it was the promotions at the venue or the people who were outside the venue, they couldn't help but be shocked. Ignoring the two sea emperors, his eyes quickly fell back to the big screen of the live broadcast. The reporters raised their cameras one after another. Get ready to document this historic moment when someone takes the crown. After all, this is most likely the beginning of the birth of an overlord. Under the watchful eyes of people, there were several coughs in the dust. Immediately after, old man with a stooped figure and a very old age appeared in the sight of people like an old man stepping into a coffin. That old man is. He's the dark horse in the first round of the conference. The one who advanced for the first time. Over the waters of Wachung, people who saw this scene were shocked and shouted. Damn, who the hell is that old man? It's amazing how crowded it is twice in a row. Is he really a remnant of the ocean overlord Rocks? People all speculated in surprise. Yaliali, twisted old ghost, let you take a step ahead again. Just then, the screen flickered. Another voice approached the most central Baoshan. That's the dancer who destroyed the Summer Island venue. He's here so soon. As expected of the two dark horses of the convention. What will happen next? Under the shocked and nervous eyes of people, the smoke and dust shrouded in the central Baoshan gradually dissipated. A pyramid built by going radiates bright light and catches everyone's eyes. Looking at the intoxicating light, people held their breath unconsciously. Look at the top of the pyramid, the real treasure is there. Someone shouted. Result, people who had been blinded by money came back to their senses. Eyes involuntarily fell on the highest point of the pyramid. It was placed in a transparent crystal box. Inside the box lies a special fruit in the shape of a cube. The veins on the surface of the fruit exude a sharp shimmer. Even just looking at it is chilling. That's what once helped rocks ascend to the position of overlord of the sea, known as the most ferocious and strongest devil fruit. Paramesha crushes the fruit. In the sky. The four emperors Lot Linlin and Kaido of the beasts also saw the glowing pyramid underneath. And the devil fruit in the crystal box on the spire. I felt that, some kind of aura from the devil fruit. In their minds, they couldn't help but recall the words Captain Rocks described to them after drinking. So, the anger on the faces of the two sea emperors was no longer. It was replaced by shock and confusion. Hey, Kaido, do you feel it? Charlotte Linlin asked. Ah, I feel it. It doesn't seem like a fake, but how is that possible? Kaido answered. As Captain Rocks described it, that's the real fruit-crushing ability. Lot Linlin affirmed. Well, although that bastard is a bit hateful, but it's not enough to deceive the whole world on this point. I'm afraid we made a mistake earlier. Maybe. Kaido murmured uncertainly. Flame calamity. It turns out that you made a mistake. What two idiot captains. Well, it's not too late, let's take that fruit first, and when the strongest descendant with our blood is born, let us let him inherit this ability. Charlotte Linlin laughed. Hey, let's go. Kaido laughed a few times, his tail twitched sharply. Carrying the four emperors on his back. Direction of the glowing pyramid. Blazing embers. You two idiot captains did it while I was away. So this is the real alliance. At the same time. The center of the Jedi venue. I feel it, this is the call from the powerful fruit ability, and wants me to be his new master. In the center of the Jedi venue, the rickety old man took a deep breath and said intoxicated. After a while, he shook his head again and sighed softly. It's a pity. Ha ha ha, twisted old ghost, if you want it, you might as well go to reincarnation now, maybe you can catch up. The man in the fancy dress teased. You two, without further ado, hurry up and take that thing and complete the task given by the Gorosei, 5 elders. The killers arrived one by one. Bastards, that's our stuff, leave it all to my mother. The screams of the four emperors resounded through the heavens and the earth, making everyone in the crowd pale in shock. Chapter 422 4 sovereigns in a district open black lens bracket 2 quarters for full order close black lens bracket. Bastards, keep me away from that. Fruit, that's what my mother likes, ah. Domineering screams resounded through the sky. Haki from the Sea Emperors. The double conqueror Haki onslaught of the four emperors Lot Linlin and Kaido of the Beasts. Even the senior elite killers of the World Government Zero were involuntarily horrified. Steps back and forth involuntarily. Hey, what are you two old guys still doing? Hurry up and finish the task. Fishman Hybrid Zero with 2 rows of fangs snapped. Don't be in such a hurry, little brother, it will kill you if you are too impatient. The man in the fancy dress grinned, showing cold white teeth. The young Fishman Zero commanded back and forth, coughing up a mouthful of blood. The Emperor of the Sea in this era has a name. It's very loud, but I don't know if you are worthy of this loud name. The rickety old man on the other side smiled sinisterly. Even under the double Haki impact of Kaido of the Beasts and Charlotte Linlin, the old complexion remained unchanged. Boom, was watched by the shocked and shocked eyes of countless people outside the venue. 2 sea emperors descended from the sky. It fell heavily on the glowing pyramid, stirring up the dust in the sky, covering the sky and the sun. Wow, varies, the flying dust rustled down. The terrifying wind pressure that followed was centered on the pyramid and spread out in all directions. Conqueror Haki of the second outbreak of the Sea Emperors. It is their declaration of sovereignty over this glowing pyramid and that overlord treasure in the crystal box. Captain Rocks, legacy is already ours, oh well. Lot Linlin held the crystal box and looked at the real smashed fruit inside, happy like a 1,000-pound child. The pyramid built by Going is not bad. Although it is not as good as the Going Bell Tower, it is still a good thing. Kaido, who still maintains the form of a dragon, has a huge dragon body entrenched in circles on the pyramid. Ling's pyramid, whose weight is unknown, shook violently, as if it was about to rise from the ground and take it away together. The arrogance of the Emperor of the Sea can be seen. Mr. Kaido mighty. That's our mother. This is our victory. The two of the four emperors are coming together, who can match this sea? The ant and the beast stationed at the Taiku venue gave out the cheers of the sky, celebrating their victory. Jedi venue. The remaining 200 qualifiers on the island also saw the scene of the central Baoshan through the big screen above the island. Damn, what the hell is going on? For a long time, we've worked so hard to advance, and it's all in vain until now. It's not fair. The handsome face of the pirate nobleman Cavendish was full of unwillingness and helplessness. After all, they were two sea emperors. Four emperors Lot Limlin and Kaido of the Beasts, they are obviously not contestants. The long-footed fighter brutally shouted absurdly. You are too naive. The rules are just shackles for the weak. In front of the absolute strength, the so-called rules are just a few words of nonsense. Destruction canon idio bitter isho. Could it be that my road to supremacy will end before it begins? Organizer. Hero Luo Lin, is this also permissible? Do something quickly. Aren't you a marine hero? The pirate captains, who still have ambitions for the supremacy, shouted at various videophone bugs in protest. It's naive. Your efforts are in vain. From the moment our captain arrives, the end is already doomed. The pandemic queen stepped on cheerful dance steps, wanton mocking the surrounding hysterical contestants. The fruit of the overlord belongs to everyone. Anyway, it has nothing to do with me. As long as this uncle can get out alive, it is enough. This time I really made it. In a certain cave, Buggy, who was lucky enough to find the hidden treasure mountain, laughed proudly. But the next second, Buggy's smug laughter came to an abrupt end. Because his challenge arose. Whoever wants to take away the things on the island must endure corresponding challenges. Even if it's your Captain Sea Emperor, it's a little too early to want to celebrate now. Sabo spoke calmly, without the slightest impatience on his face. What an irritating boy, he's still at this time, hard-mouthed. Sparrow's face sank. Gee ha ha ha, don't you really think you can take that fruit away? Crocodile laughed sarcastically. What's so funny? 4 emperors join forces, who can match the sea? Fishman Sasaki asked. I don't know about others, but the one in my family, not. Just 4 emperors can challenge. Crocodile Hockey's full mouth. What did you say? 4 emperors in a mere amount of time. You people in Watchung are only good at talking. The aunts and the cadres of the beasts in the field were very angry. Then let's start with you. I will make you regret saying what you said earlier. Fishman Sasaki grinned Isho grimly, revealing a set of white fangs. Boom, war restarts. Ji Dong, hissing, this conference. Is this really the end? The strongest fruit ability of the Master of the Sea, Rocks, has finally returned to the hands of the original Rocks pirates. As the strongest pirate alliance in history about to be born. What will this sea be like next? The reporters and audiences who watched the 2-island live broadcast squares murmured in shock. No, it's not over yet. A reporter suddenly exclaimed. The 2 dark horses of the conference. They are going to attack the Emperor of the Sea.